In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Perfect. Good evening, Panther fans. It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Brace yourselves, Panther fans. 2022 will be a McAdoozy. That's our show tonight, where we are going to be talking about a lot of big NFL news, from Hard Knocks to Sean Payton leaving the New Orleans Saints. Ben McAdoo signs up with the squad, and we'll have a lot of stats and things to talk about. But the division playoffs, guys, what a weekend of football, man. And man, it was enjoyable. And at the same time, I would think about my poor Panthers and go, gosh, I wish I was one of those people. But I tell you this, I wish I was one of those people. With Cody Lashney, my co-host. Welcome back to the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Tony Dunn, what an incredible weekend of playoff football. I think, if anything, it kind of goes to show how far the Panthers are behind when you don't have a badass quarterback like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. And I already hear people, what about the Niners? What about the Niners? Dude, look, you need a franchise quarterback to be successful in today's NFL. I've been saying that for a while. But yeah, man, the Panthers have to do everything in their power to get one. And we're going to be talking about that all off season. But you already know that there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than hanging with my boys, Tony, Greg, CK. But you also know we're going to be hanging out with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube. You already know them and love them. It's our boy, Drew, ATX19, Jay Sue, Joey the Blind Panther, Kego Fort, Matt Knows Nothing, Off Grid, Panther Blue, Panther Pickle, Cardiac Cat, Thomas Tomlinson, Tom Estes, Underground West, Zach Simmons 13, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
That's what I call roll call, baby. Roll call.
Yep.
Everybody present and attentive. They're going to go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com and check out a couple of stories I've been putting out. I've been in this little writing groove for the last couple of days. Today I just published it a few moments ago, within the last hour. Title this the article, Ben McAdoo, Offensive Statistics, Damn Statistics, and Horrifying Stats. We'll be talking about those horrifying stats and some of those offensive statistics that got Ben McAdoo hired and part of the Carolina Panthers. So fun stuff to talk about. Smash thumbs up button, subscribe, hang out with CK in the house. How are you, CK?
Yeah, man. COVID positive. So that's good.
You sound great, though.
Yeah,
you sound great.
We did get tested positive yesterday, and my throat was horrendous. Like it was so bad. It's so sore. It's getting a little bit better, so that's always positive.
The moneymaker.
Yeah, it is. But it was, honestly, it made my voice sound even better, if I'm being honest. But, we're here to talk about the Panthers. And the Panthers, man, I tell you what, all the news we're going to talk about today, somehow, even though as Panthers fans we should be happy, we still feel like there's very little hope. We're going to get into it, guys. But I'm happy to be here chopping it up with you guys.
Greg, I've been reading Lord of the Rings. That's been my little nerd endeavor over the last week. I watched the Star Wargy this past week.
Oh, thank you.
You guys have a lot of fun. Sarah Taylor out there. She's usually hanging out in the chat room here. Welcome back, Greg.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Lord of the Rings, just about anything you do with that, you can't go wrong. So you should enjoy that. Hey, you guys ever seen that movie Don't Look Up?
Yes.
I love it.
So good. That's kind of where I'm at right now with the Carolina Panthers. It's one of those things where, like, I saw this coming a long time ago, and I was trying to put it out there and tell everybody. And now we see the comet, and now, or the asteroid, and there's just nothing we can do about it.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Speaking of movie references, one of the things I was right when I wrote about Ben McAdoo is it's hard to get past, and we're not going to get too much into Ben McAdoo right now, but it's hard to get past that image of him with the mustache and the slick back hair.
Yep.
Right? You know what I mean? It's just so visually seared into your brain, and then it's associated with the struggles when he was a head coach. But I recognize what it was, dude. So I was talking to Nick Filato from Big Blue View today. I published that video. I got an interview on Ben McAdoo's X's and O's and style. But he talked about one of the good things that Ben McAdoo did is he helped Eli Manning with his footwork. And he said that it improved tremendously. And this was like this big jump from the McBride offense to him, and that was a big part of it, and this like quickness and all of this. And he said he really did improve with his mechanics. But then it came out and he becomes like kind of a star, and then like to give him the job in New York, and he comes all of a sudden he comes with like a regular haircut that year. He was doing great, and then he's head coach and he's slicking his hair back, and I thought, this is Gordon Bombay from Mighty Ducks 2. He is being who he is. He's not.
You had the reason there
Ben
for that
McAdoo.
one.
Ben McAdoo.
Yeah.
Tried to be someone he wasn't.
Who would have thought?
Gordon Bombay, bro. Gordon Bombay with the slick back hair. The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Leave us a message. Tell us what you're thinking about the division playoffs. Carolina potentially being on Hard Knocks. Sean Payton leaving the NFC South. Guys, let's start with this incredible week of football, or weekend of football.
Yeah.
If
I
we
told
want
my
to start
wife, Cody, I told my wife that she was like, man, what happened in that game? You were like cheering, you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh crap.
Oh, dude, I was like, crazy.
And I'm not even into other teams as much, so I usually don't get super emotional on like other teams. And I was like, oh damn. And she was like, what was going on? I said, man, if you look at the last 2 minutes of that game, they scored as many points as the Panthers did in the last like 8 games.
Right.
And she was like, whoa. And that was what it felt like, guys. What'd you see, man? That ending, oh my goodness.
Listen,
Buffalo can't make a stop to save their damn life.
Neither could Kansas City.
Yeah, that game came down to whoever won the coin toss in overtime.
Yeah.
That game came down to. If Buffalo would have won the coin toss in overtime, they would have won that game.
Yeah.
Always go heads, man.
Yep.
The moment that he called tails, I knew
contrary
it,
to what everybody said.
No, dude. The moment that he said tails, literally the moment he said tails.
Tails never fails, dude. What
That's
are you
it.
talking about?
No, that's bullshit, dude. Heads is always what you go for, man. Always, dude. By the way, shout out to 89J Subs for the 199. It says C3, keep pounding. Love you, brother. Keep it up. Appreciate it.
Can I ask, just based on, you guys know my kind of tinfoil hats conspiracy theory about this being a television show and how it's got to be somewhat scripted, and they try to kind of push the narrative in the direction. We see, evidence of this every year. But I mean, based on the fact that they extended the season because they want games to be more competitive. And look at this, at the end of the season, there's 14 teams in the last week, or not 14 teams, but like 8 or 9 teams in the last week that can still make the playoffs. Which is, right, mind-bending. And then they have these 4 games that are all amazing endings to all these games with insane things happening, like the fourth quarter. It looked like there was no defense being played in the last 2 minutes.
The game sucked last week.
Well, and then look at, I'm just saying, there's so many things out there. The Cowboys getting that call, even though they lost, the refs did everything they could to give the Cowboys a chance to win that game. The fumble with Brady, like there's so many things that push a narrative. Because you
also gave them like 10 defensive penalties, though.
That's what I'm saying.
I think this. I think that the extra seeds kind of water down the playoffs a bit.
No, I think it made it more fun, man. Because you have to realize the 49ers,
teams, right?
the San Francisco 49ers made it into the playoffs the last game of the season.
Yeah.
And then they went into Dallas and then into Green Bay and won. And I think going forward, it's going to be more fun for those teams that are going to be on the fringe. Like there were a lot of teams this year at the end of the season, like the Chargers, the Colts, like so many of the final games of the season, they mattered because of that extra seed. I like it. I agree with you. Last week was a bunch of blowouts, but I do believe this last weekend was probably the best weekend of playoff football I've ever seen in my life. And it's probably the most fun I've had.
Ever seen?
Dude, I'm being real. A lot of other people are saying that too.
Tony.
And I also think, looking at these playoffs, man, it shows, like I said in my intro, it shows a clear differentiation between the best teams in the NFL and how far they can go. And it's correlated to that quarterback system or to that quarterback that they have behind center, man. When you watch the end of that Bills-Chiefs game and you see the heroics that Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes put on, dude, those guys are superheroes. They're like Kryptonians, dude. They can do fucking anything you ask them to, throw a ball 50 yards. Man, that ending, man, the fact that every single offensive, every time the Chiefs got the ball or the Bills got the ball, they were going to the end zone, man. I mean, those defenses couldn't do anything to stop it. That was my favorite weekend of NFL football ever and the most fun I've had this season, I think.
Well, yeah, you got to think about every single game ended with a walk-off score. Like every one of them. And, you might not find that to be super entertaining, but, that to me tells me every single
how about that is how do you not find it entertaining?
Right.
Of course we do. It's the most entertaining way to end every game.
Right. So I mean, when you think about it, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, this was by let's be honest about some stuff. These guys, like every single team, if it was just like 4 blowouts, I think we would have all just turned off the game by halftime. Every single one of these games, for the most part, kept us enthralled to the very last second.
I'm not gonna lie.
If Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady, I would have turned off that game at halftime.
Yeah, I didn't start watching the Kansas City game until there was about really watching it until there was about 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah, but then you got to the best
everything
part.
in the game.
Yeah. What stood out to you? Like, what's your favorite? Not moments. You give a moment storyline of this weekend with the playoffs. Like, what is
my favorite?
Iconic. What do you think of? I mean, I got a couple, but go ahead.
The most iconic for me is the fact that it's what happened after the weekend, and that is the hope in the NFC South that this thing's wide open for somebody to take it. Whether it's going to be the Panthers or not, it's going to be to be determined. But that's where my mindset went. Like, other than that, if you're looking at just the specifics of the game, it's that. With good coaching and proper talent around you, you can have a team like the Bengals still overcome, huge deficiencies in the offensive line. But you're still hugely underperforming for what your potential is because of that lack of offensive line. So, which I think the Bengals should be the type of team we should look for as the possible footprints that we should follow into success.
Can I ask y'all this? Because I've been thinking about it too. And you mentioned the Bengals, okay? I mean, they were picking number 1 in the draft, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And then there was also that conversation of, should they take Penei Sewell in the first round, and everybody kind of clowned on them when they didn't. And yeah, their offensive line is bad. Like, we're not gonna pretend that Joe Burrow didn't get sacked 9 times against the Titans, which is bananas. But I mean, when you look at Joe Burrow and how he's able to sling that ball to Jamar Chase and how potent their offense is, man, it really kind of makes you think, man. And I'm not saying the Panthers should do one thing or another, But and again, I'm not done with my own personal evaluations. But Tony has been saying, like, you know, if the Panthers draft an offensive lineman, it's not going to do anything for Matt Rule. Like, they have to get the quarterback position fixed. And if there's a guy that they like in the draft, well, why couldn't the Panthers be like the Bengals? You know, draft a quarterback, take some offensive linemen in later rounds. We still have Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen that we're all very hopeful about. I mean, if it is a Kenny Pickett that the Panthers think is going to be good, or if it is a Malik Willis, you know, maybe the Panthers should do it. But it goes back to that evaluation thing. If the Panthers can't truly evaluate the quarterback position properly, well, then we're just going to be swinging and missing just to fix the position and not actually drafting the right players.
Right.
But when you look at Joe Burrow, dude, that guy is special, man.
Yes.
That guy is special.
Listen to this, man. One thing I took from this weekend is listen to this list. Hill, Mahomes, Kupp, Stafford, Debo, Garoppolo, Adams, Rodgers, Allen, Diggs, Chase, Burrow. Every elite team that was in this playing this weekend or is left has an elite quarterback and wide receiver combo. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, of all those that are absolutely amazing, Burrow and Chase have the potential to be the best for the longest time out of all of them.
Well,
that
yeah,
team
because
is
it's like
young
the
and
moment,
hungry,
year one.
and those guys together, Chase and Burrow, they have such good chemistry together, man.
Yeah,
they're going to be something to watch out for. I'm telling you.
What about the storyline that remember in week one, basically, or going into this year, Jamar Chase had been struggling with had drops, and then they're like,
and
then he talked about the white on the football, which actually I thought was a thoughtful comment, you know. And then people were like, "Oh my god, the white on the football and this and that," and then my man went out there and had the best season in the history of football.
Yeah.
I think Joe Burrow. How about this? Is I was a guy that wasn't fawning over Joe. I mean, I just didn't really care about Joe Burrow when he came into the league.
Yeah, I didn't.
But he has endeared me. Like I'm on board. You know, I'm like I'm on the Burrow bandwagon. And then my man comes out here. He was asked this. He was like, they were asked like, how does it feel to win? You know, for the city, the first playoff game in 30 years, like older than you are.
Yep.
And he goes, it feels like that's the standard. Like we're going to do this every year.
Yes.
And it wasn't cocky. Dude. It wasn't this and that. And he was like, yeah, I mean, but then he goes on. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's great to, you know, fans want to win and we want to give them that. But he's like, it ain't, this is the norm, homie. And it was so cool. This guy, man, I'm cheering for the Bengals, dude. I'm cheering for the Bengals.
He's like the most effortlessly cool player in the NFL, dude. Like that guy's not even trying. Yeah. You mentioned like that guy's not even trying. Dude, that guy broke my heart, man. LSU beat my Clemson Tigers in the national championship, dude. So it's like my brother is a huge LSU fan. So I was following Joe Burrow kind of that whole season. The dude's a baller, man. The dude's a baller. He doesn't have all the physical traits that, say, even a Josh Allen has. But, dude, it don't fucking matter, man.
Why does Josh Allen look like he smoked meth at the end of games?
Because he's given everything he fucking has, bro.
If I played that well.
His eye, he is like,
bro. Can
he
I
tell
like
you, robot? Like, he looks like he just went and smoked meth.
Like, I don't care what people say. Like, right now, I say this without question. Josh Allen is the quarterback that is the best quarterback in the NFL. People are going to try to say Mahomes is. Mahomes literally was throwing to wide open Travis Kelce 20 yards down the field. Josh Allen was threading a needle with 13 seconds left to Davis in the end zone and getting a go-ahead score. Like, Josh Allen not getting
around for 20 seconds. My favorite play, Josh Allen,
4th downs on that drive. Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, 4th and 4 on that, and he runs back, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh god, here comes this. This is what Cam used to do. It's like, oh shit, he's already back there. They're already in the backfield.
Josh Allen is what Cam Newton was supposed
scrambles, to do. He pump fakes twice, and then goes, you know what? We need this 4th down, and runs like 8 yards, 6 yards, and blast this dude. Woo, that was a good moment. That was a good moment. I mean, Josh Allen is the truth, homie.
Hey, how do you feel if you're Gabriel Davis and you just had the best game probably of your life, over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns, and you lost?
I mean,
no
receiver.
No receiver has ever had 4 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns or something.
4.
And
No receiver has ever had 4 touchdowns in the postseason.
Yeah. He broke a record.
4?
Yeah, he had 4
Well, he had
touchdowns
4 in this game.
Jesus.
He had 4.
Broke
the
record.
Yards.
This is a good question, right? Hey, this is a good question. Let's do this real quick, all 4 of us. If you had your pick of any quarterback in the NFL and you could just bring them to the Carolina Panthers, who are you picking? Tony,
Josh Allen.
First. All right, we know suitcase is Josh Allen.
Let me go first. I didn't think about it for a second.
Yeah, give me a second.
Greg, who you taking, man? Chat. I want to hear. Look, everybody as well talk about this. I mean, we have no idea who the Panthers quarterback is going to be for the next fucking 5 years potentially. So we might as well dream a little bit. It's the postseason. If you had your pick of any quarterback in the NFL, who are you picking?
Okay, I'll go ahead and say Joe. I'll go ahead and say Joe Burrow.
Oh, shut up.
Joe Burrow. I'll go ahead and say Burrow, and Allen's right behind that.
All right.
I'm right there with you. Allen's a.
Hey, I feel like y'all should know who I'm going to say.
Taysom Hill.
I mean Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert. Oh, good job.
Yeah. No, dude. No, look. And dude, listen. Can I just say this? Like, there's a bunch of different names in the chat. Josh Allen,
like Josh Allen,
Joe Burrow. I have, and I think all of these are legitimate answers. But dude, I'm going Herbert, man. I think Justin Herbert, if you look at what he was able to do this year, like him and Josh Allen have the same skill set.
I'd take Josh Allen right now.
Josh Allen, I feel like hands down is a better QB. Like
I with Josh Allen right now.
I hate
he got more of a.
And by the way, Grim Reaper with the $5 says Josh freaking Allen. Appreciate that, Grim. And that's a great answer.
I would be comfortable. I wouldn't be comfortable with Herbert. I'd be comfortable with Allen. I'd be comfortable with Mahomes and Burrow. Like those are the 4 right now because like I mean I do think Aaron Rodgers, to me, I know that you guys are gonna say he didn't score a lot this weekend and stuff, but I still think he's like dope as a mug. But he's old. Those guys are awesome. They're dope as he is, and they're like 24. So there's a lot of good quarterbacks. The Panthers, speaking of this, one other interesting moment for me, at least, was when Tyreek Hill caught that touchdown. And he was like on the 35-yard line.
Yeah. The dude is on.
I mean, it was like so far away from the end zone. And he ran 10 yards. And then it was like everybody knew. Everybody, even I knew. He
the moment
knew,
it happened, yep.
The people that, like he had this peace sign up, and he didn't even have like some crazy better angle on them.
He was
just turbo boosted. He plays football and fast forward, bro.
He's like Sonic the Hedgehog, dude. He just runs away from people.
He was looking at people.
And when he's running by you, chucking the deuces at you, how stupid do you have to feel in that moment? Like you're just watching this fucking guy run away from you. Yeah, but that's what Sean McDermott said. Someone asked Sean McDermott about it, and he's like, well, I don't know. I won't answer that one. Pretty much saying, it should have been taunting without actually saying it.
I don't even. I would say he's like should be grandfathered in.
Can I be honest?
He's been doing that celebration his whole career.
Yeah.
The fact that wasn't a penalty is the only reason the Bills were still in that game. If that would have been a penalty and they would have called that touchdown back, Patrick Mahomes still had over a minute to drive down there and score a touchdown. And the way the Bills defense was playing, they were going to do it. So I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, that was the opportunity that the Bills needed to come back there and actually do something. But unfortunately, the Bills defense just again did the exact same thing the Panthers do on a weekly basis and just let this team just walk all over them.
I think he's the fastest game speed player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can give me all these other people that run faster and they can give me these measurements that like the whatever, they do those crazy stats and they'll be like, oh, he went 27 miles an hour. Like, you can give me that. I just saw somebody, I was like, he's the fastest dude I've ever seen on the football field.
Dude, he's unreal.
I mean, I got to go back to like Dion or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I think we need to give Patrick Mahomes. I mean, CK, you're right. He has an incredible talent around him.
Yeah,
but dude,
great,
the
he's
throws,
sick, bro. He's so
throws
sick.
that this guy makes, and how fast he's able to read the defense. Like, that's another thing. Like, when you see with 13 seconds left, the Bills are essentially defending the end zone and not the sideline. Or maybe I have that vice versa. But the Bills defense, they were in a terrible scheme. Mm-hmm. And Patrick Mahomes recognizes it. And he just waits until he has Kelsey coming on the inside. And then, zoom, dude, the fact that he was able to get into field goal range within 13 seconds, like, that guy is the real deal, man. There's a reason why, for the 4th year in a row, the AFC Championship game is going through Arrowhead. Like, yes, they have an incredible coach, incredible players, but the song remains the same. If you don't have a franchise quarterback, I really don't think that you have a chance. That's why I truly don't think the 49ers have a chance this year. And Patrick Mahomes is special, man. He's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They all are.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of special quarterbacks, I've been trying to look up just stats from college, and Cody, I'm nowhere near where you are at analyzing talent or anything. I don't watch college football near as much, but can you tell me anything about this Malik Willis guy that I keep seeing floating around names for Carolina to look into as quarterback?
Yeah, Malik Willis. So listen, but a little bit inside baseball. This year, Malik Willis is going to be that Josh Allen / Zach Wilson type of player, in that they have tremendous upside, but they played with a football team in a conference that you've never heard of. Yeah. They were not surrounded by NFL talent, so a lot of the times that showed up on the stat sheet. Malik had 3 games where he threw 3 interceptions. Now, I haven't looked at all of those interceptions, so I can't say whether or not they were all on him, but he wasn't on a good football team. And he easily has the biggest physical upside of all the quarterbacks in this year's draft. Not very tall. He's about 6'1", maybe 6'2". But he has a bazooka.
He's listed at 6'1". So
yeah, he has a bazooka for an arm, and he can run. I mean, he has all the physical makeup that you want from a franchise quarterback. But, again, you might need to let him ingratiate himself to the NFL a little bit. And even thinking about Josh Allen, I mean, Josh Allen, even in his first and second year, he was not the player that we're looking at now. People still panned him for his inaccuracies and stuff like that. So, it takes time for some of these players. Malik Willis might be one of those players, but he is freakazoid talented.
Well, see, I just looked at the highlights of him, and everything I saw looked good, but it's a highlight reel, so everything is going to look really good on a highlight reel. And like you said, he was playing for Liberty against team. And that was my big concern with. He may be really good. I've seen a lot of college players that are elite in college that play for better teams that when they get to the pros aren't good. And some people I think that are like that, like when you get to the minor leagues, that's your ceiling and you're a really good minor league player, but you're not good enough to take to the next level. Nothing wrong with that. I just didn't know about that when I was watching him because I like the highlights.
Well, the risk is there. This is just the amount of risk you put in to a pick is so much of I think draft analysis is sort of a dollar cost averaging in the background that you don't want to admit.
Right.
I mean, in some ways you could argue that the Panthers picking J.C. Horn was a fiscally safer pick. Right, because you've actually heard that Matt Rule say that only 20% of first-round or top 10 quarterbacks are hits. Like he said something like that. I mean, you could probably do that for every position.
Right.
Yeah. But if Matt Rule said it, I don't trust it.
Right. But I think it was like this is let's take J.C. Horn, who has a high floor and a high ceiling for his position, rather than somebody who had more risk. A quarterback, Rashawn Slater with his short arms.
No risk, no
right?
biscuit,
Is that so the amount of risk is lessened. He was just a little bit worried. And so the Malik Willis, you're not buying the blue chip stock. You're dipping into a good stock. You're buying the Pfizer right now.
I'll be interested to see what happens to him once the combine hits and pro days, because I could easily see teams just starting to fall in love with this kid.
The Panthers are playing 3, and we'll finish up the playoffs a little bit. It's kind of you guys say anything about the overtime mess?
Yeah, it was a travesty that Josh Allen didn't get an opportunity to actually answer that, because that offense deserved every opportunity to try to win that game for that team.
Should have called heads.
He should have called heads. They do need to
figure
figure
made a
it out.
defensive stop, is what I say.
By the way, didn't this also? That's a good point. And didn't this also happen to the Kansas City Chiefs a few years ago? Yeah, because the Patriots, the Chiefs didn't get a chance in overtime. The Patriots got the ball. Tom Brady and the Patriots go downfield and they score, and they went to the Super Bowl. I think, it sucks that it's that way, but there is a point to be made about what Tony just said. And I can see it both ways here, but the Buffalo Bills had, and like they were saying on the broadcast, the number 1 rated defense in the NFL.
They would not stop saying it, would they?
And the Carolina Panthers were number 2.
It's so crazy, but it's like you have the number 1 defense.
That guy's dusted in 13 seconds.
Yeah, and dude, you just had 13 seconds to keep them out of field goal range.
I know, and they scored a touchdown. They're like, man, I think they got a field goal time. But the other thing is some of that was like not bad coaching. Won't go that far, but you squib kick it,
right?
You shave a couple more seconds off.
Mm-hmm.
You play a little bit deep. You almost drop back. I think Tony Romo was the one that was saying drop back more, man. You could have pulled the old Phil Snow from last year where you just rushed 2. What year was that? Or was that Ron Rivera? We did that where one time we just sent 2 people.
That was Ron. That was Ron Rivera, dude.
Where it was Washington or whatever that guy, and it was just like we ain't got no second. Everybody get back. Like you could have done that though, and it would have actually been better in that case.
Yeah. I mean, here's my thought. Like with the overtime rules, like a lot of people want to say, the Buffalo defense had an opportunity to stop them. Let's be real about something. Number 1. The Kansas City Chiefs defense wasn't stopping the Bills either, right? They weren't stopping the Bills either.
They weren't, but it was
slow
different. The Bills had a 17-play, 3 4th down drive. That's a little bit different than the way the Chiefs were marching it down the field.
No. Josh Allen got the ball back with a minute left, and he scored in 40 seconds, and then he got the ball 75 yards, got a bomb down the field to Gabriel Davis on 1 play. Like it wasn't it wasn't even like it was that big of a difference. Now the other aspect of this, we can argue, it was the Bills. They're the best defense. You got to keep in mind. The best defenses in the NFL have a very difficult time when you start thinking about overtime. Overtime is not easy to be because you already are just completely worn out. Add on top of that, you were the last team. You were on the field at the end of the game already. So, I mean, no matter what way you look at it, the Bills defense had a yes, they were not good. The coaching style was not great, but they were given listen, I mean, the Bills were just shafted by a coin toss. That was really what it boiled down to.
Mm-hmm.
What about this? So a lot of people come out and they say, got to change the overtime rules. So when we change I'm not part of it. When the NFL changed the overtime rules, not too long ago, right? Last decade or something like that. Where they did the back and forth, kind of thing. It used to be sudden, like you played to the end,
field
right?
goal won the game.
Yeah.
No, it used to be a field goal. First score
won,
doesn't matter what it was.
Yeah. you could do something like where you could have two rules, one for the playoffs, one for the regular season. Because I felt like what they're trying to do now, in my idea, is it's trying to speed up the game to a certain degree. It's like, we don't want to be here for 27 times or whatever. But you could make different rules for the playoffs.
Right.
Was it really just complete a field goal one?
Yeah, field goal one. Whoever scored first one. So if you got a safety, anything that scored first one. I want to go with.
I would like to see them have more of like just play to the end of a quarter or something.
Yeah, that's the
way. I thought if you're in overtime and you kick a field goal,
sudden death back in the day.
I thought they got a chance to match your field goal if you kick the field goal.
Not in the old one. He's right.
See, I wish they did it now. I could be wrong. In college, they put them on like the 20 to 25 yard line. You get a chance to score. If you don't do it, the other team does, and they score. And you go back and forth till one can't score. Right?
It gets to that eventually. Like I think first it starts with just normal offense, but then if you keep on going, then you go to the 20-yard line. Look, they definitely need to revisit.
Pickle says they have 2 overtime rules now. Oh yeah, well they can't end in a tie. Like in the regular season, they could end in a tie.
But my thing is this: is there nothing to be made about the Kansas City Chiefs are at home? They couldn't put the Buffalo Bills away in 4 quarters. Isn't there a case to be made that the away team should go first? Like, they're on the road. It's the home team's home crowd. It's that you've had 4 quarters.
I could live with that.
That actually is a bonus to having the higher seed.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's a great answer.
I think that's how it should be, man. If you're at home,
like it's our house,
you're surrounded by your fans. You couldn't beat that team in 4 quarters. The opponent should get the ball when it goes into overtime. At least that's what I think.
Yeah,
I think that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I also don't know if you should have to have the ball. I like that one. I think you solved it, Cody. I think that solves it because I don't want them to also like the other team have to get a possession. Like, oh, we got to make it fair. So Josh Allen's got to get a chance.
Yeah, but
that is the incentive. Like, that's the home court advantage. We get to go first.
Yeah.
It's kind of like baseball. If you think about it, isn't it advantageous to have the last at bat?
Probably. Yeah. I mean,
in baseball,
I haven't watched a baseball game.
It can be. Yeah. I mean,
right. But at the home team gets the ball, like they're batting last. Like they always get the last chance to know if they need to get one more damn run. And it's an advantage to be at home. Because then all you got to do is get them out if you're ahead and you don't even got to go bat again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like if we're on the road and we make it to overtime, we should get the ball first in halftime.
All right. I wanted to go back because you guys were talking. First, smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the show. Get in the comment section. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Let's do one more topic, and then we'll jump into some cat calls.
Yeah.
We still got to talk about actually, let's do this. Let's talk about Sean Payton.
Let's do it.
I saw today that Sean Payton announced he will not be returning to New Orleans Saints. Is this unexpected? I mean, I did hear a couple of rumors yesterday or something like this, or the Ian Rappaport story came out. Like this I thought that was yesterday. One of the guys, Schefter, the same dude. They're the same guy for the different.
So,
but they put out a story, and then today it happened. So
my brother, a diehard Saints fan, I text him like this news kind of dropped out of nowhere today. Yeah. So then I call my brother, and he doesn't sound surprised at all. Like this was kind of gonna happen, right? And I think that Panther Pickle, he put this in the chat. He makes a good point. Saints are $74 million over the cap.
Yep.
There's no more Drew Brees. And it's like, you're not in a position where that team is going to be good, maybe even in the next year or two. And that really prompted
the playoffs this year.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, going forward, there's no guarantee, and they don't have a lot of money to really fix that team. They're even saying that they might be open to trading some players now. But I felt like this prompted a discussion online, and I wanted to share this from Julian Council. It's related to the Sean Payton and the Panthers. It says not only does Sean Payton's retirement place more pressure on Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers brass to get things right this offseason, it further highlights how poorly they've handled the quarterback decisions during the past two. We knew when Rule was hired back in January of 2020 that Matt Ryan and Drew Brees weren't going to be playing much longer. And when Tom Brady arrived in Tampa, it was only thought to be two, maybe 3 years. The thought that the Panthers had the time to rebuild an aging roster, then in a few seasons, likely 2022, have a chance to be positioned atop the division after identifying the long-term option at quarterback, we all know that hasn't happened. The Panthers are no closer now than they were 2 years ago at identifying the future at quarterback, and that's unacceptable given the current state of affairs in the NFC South and the potential changes at the position across the rest of the NFC. And that is perfectly summed up to me. I mean, absolutely perfect. The NFC South is in such flux right now. The Falcons hired a new head coach. Sean Payton out the door. Tampa Bay, dude, people are speculating that this might be Tom Brady's last year playing football.
If you heard his radio interview.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know if I believe that, but if I do or don't, whatever, those are the rumors being spread right now. The fact that even after all of that, the Panthers don't look to be in a position to capitalize on all of that, it makes what we're going through even worse. We had a golden opportunity to make some headway in the NFC South. I kind of feel like we didn't do that. Now, going forward, it helps that the New Orleans Saints don't have Sean Payton as their head coach. I mean, that goes without saying. But, dude, I really feel like there's been a bunch of missed opportunities, to quote former coach Ron Rivera, when you look at how this has all been handled.
Yeah, you're 100% right, man. And I think we were all saying that back when at the very beginning, whenever Rule came here, that this is a perfect time for him to rebuild and take over whenever this league turns, because this conference turns, which is about to, and we're just going to stay right at the bottom with it. Hey, what do y'all think about Payton to Dallas? Sorry, go ahead.
No, just make sure we don't miss it. Southbound with $5 said reality check as Panther fans. The only draft we care about is our fantasy draft, and I'd like to see Tepper hop in late Norman for our 0-17 party.
Oh, God. Hey, you know what? Man. It better be a polar plunge. It better be after a weekend of snow.
Right.
Hey, what do you think of the chances of Payton going to Dallas? Because I've heard rumors of that for the last year throughout different podcasts and different sports analysts. Just after mentioning 1 year, maybe, and talking about how much what's his name, Jerry Jones wants Payton, and how Payton's is leaving New Orleans. I think it might be sooner than that, man. After what happened with Dallas this year,
that'd be awesome. You know what? I'm rooting for that.
They'd be lethal. They'd be absolutely lethal, man.
If you watch the the interview, or I guess the final press conference and again, we can take this with a grain of salt. I'm assuming that money will be the talking point that would change his mind, but it really sounds like Sean Payton has no intentions of coaching this year. Now, does that mean he won't in the future? We don't know. It's very possible, but based on his words and the way he's saying it, he's like, listen, I drive to the games and I see these people out here tailgating and they look like they're having way more fun than I am, and so it sounds like he's just really wanting to be a fan of football for a little while.
When I heard the news that he was stepping away, the first thing I thought is this dude has had it easy for the last decade. He been getting it done. He had Drew Brees. He had Alvin Kamara for the last few years. Like, they've been getting it, like they've been good.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at this salary cap and it's sucking.
Dude.
I got to look at it, Taysom Hill, and he's sucking.
Can we talk about
it
how many
almost,
people?
and this is why the Dallas thing is kind of interesting to me, is because like, wouldn't that just be a lot easier of a
I think
life
it would be.
to like,
I
you
think it
know
would
what
be.
is like, hey, I did a lot for New Orleans. Y'all welcome, this and that, but I'm gonna go and play some winning football with all these other good players.
I think that's where he's going to end up, is in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean,
So
and it's very possible after this year, like after the 2022 season, especially if Mike McCarthy takes a step backwards, then yeah, I could see that.
It's also a very Jerry Jones thing to do. I mean, even
He'll fire
even
McCarthy.
after,
That's a Jerry Jones thing to do.
but dude, even after the
And then
after
be
their
on
loss,
Hard Knocks too again.
after their loss to the 49ers, it was like, yeah, well, when you have these kinds of players, gotta win right now. You gotta win when the getting's good. So it's like, yeah, man. And apparently, this dude has had a hard on for Sean Payton forever.
For a while.
Like this dude wants,
Mhm.
he wants Sean Payton to be the head coach.
Wouldn't you want Sean Payton more than Mike McCarthy?
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
I have listen. As much as I hate the New Orleans Saints, I have always given props to old Duck Lips for being one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. Like,
And him and Kellen Moore together. Can you imagine? Oh man, with all that talent.
I kind of don't think Kellen Moore would. I don't think Kellen Moore would want to lit. Like, he probably wants to make his own way. I don't know if
I don't think he's going to
deserves
right
to.
now. I think
He
his
deserves
name
to.
already cooled off after they didn't get farther. Like the offense wasn't, as cooking as much as it kind of should have been at the end. His name kind of fell off.
Yeah. Can I talk about the Saints for a second, about how that team is going to fall apart? Like, I mean, I sit there, maybe this is all just hope and optimism, but when you have a team that was willing to restructure contracts because you had a Drew Brees and Sean Payton that gave you an opportunity at a run, these guys are not going to be willing to do that. You're going to be seeing some trades. You're going to be seeing some people maybe unhappy. You're going to see more Michael Thomas type drama, I think, with that organization as they continue with a $70 million cap cap deficit that they're dealing with. I think you're 100% like I would like to, again, this might just be wishful thinking, but I think you're about to see that team really take a turn.
Can't be optimistic about it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, think about this. You are already walking through the land of no Drew Brees anymore. Like we're walking through the land of no, it's like you're in the land of no quarterback. We're trying to find your quarterback. And yeah, you might have some better answers than Sam Darnold with Jameis Winston, but not really. I mean, it's like you're still in the land of not Drew Brees. And now you're in the land of not Drew Brees and not Sean Payton. And you're like, all this, like, you're walking into the forest, bro. You're walking into the dark forest if you're Frodo.
Welcome to hell, Saints fans. Come join us and get warm next to the dumpster fire.
I hope it's hot over there. Hope it's hot. One other question I had, going back to your point about the missing the golden opportunity for the right rebuild. The thing that upsets me about this and irritates me as you kind of put it out there like that, like this, why didn't we just rebuild the right way, period? Whether or not it was set up for the right way or not set up for the right way, why did we? And then it would have been set up. Like, it just really.
Right.
They wouldn't
not
commit
only
to one
just
or
a
the
missed
other.
opportunity, but you should have just been doing that right in the first place. It's like when you tell your kid to make their bed and they half do it, and then you're like, can you spend that time? They pout it over, and then they go do that or whatever, and then you go up there and guess what? You gotta do it anyway again. Like, it sucks. You didn't save no time. You didn't save no time. You didn't save no
They didn't commit either way was the problem. They were afraid to commit to either doing a full rebuild.
Matt
or
Rule is a bum, dude. He's a fraud. I don't like him, and I feel bad. I feel bad rooting against somebody that bad. It's like he's like Derek Anderson to me in my life. Just don't like him. It's a person.
You have
CK, you got some life in those pipes for us?
Sure, we can give her a shot.
Just give her a little baby.
Y'all.
Give him a COVID sad one.
This man is COVID positive, and he's still about to give you that shame that you so crave. Talk to him, Big Papa.
Well, hello there. My name is Codizzle Allen. CK. I'm here with COVID. And you know what? I've hit the fucking like button. Why have you not hit the like button? I'm very upset with you. I have COVID. Hit the like button. COVID sympathy. COVID.
Subscriber. Shame. Hit the like button, y'all. It's so simple to do. It helps us grow the podcast. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We have 112 people watching right now. 71 thumbs up. You're already doing damn good. Hit that thumbs up. Help us grow the content, grow the channel. And we're going to have a lot more draft content coming up as well. So C3 Panthers Podcast is where you want to be. Tony Dunn, let's continue.
252-228-5098. Let's jump into your calls.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use one?
It's me, T-Dog. Real quick before I even get started, everybody make sure you got them dab on the motherfucking like button. It's free.
That's right.
You got them subscribe. You know what
Tell
I'm
them
saying? Man, it's free, man. It don't cost you anything to hit the goddamn like button and subscribe to the show.
Amen.
Now, with that being said, this today, you know, temperatures just went ahead fire Matt Rule for even hiring this goddamn trash ass McAdoozy and everything. You know, but with that being said, man, everybody just get ready for this roller coaster season next year, because I don't see us winning any games next year, and we have a tougher schedule. And this is just basically nepotism, because McAdoo has got them, Potter got them, Tom Coughlin got them. He was up on Tom Coughlin or some BS, you know, and goddamn Rule got them real cool with Coughlin, you know. So I mean, we just going down circles with the same bullshit and fucking circus and the damn dumpster fire, you know.
Yeah.
But that's nothing really to be excited about, man. I mean, you can't even be excited about this draft, you know. Then on top of that, you got down hire McAdoozy, you know, like Sam Darnold.
On
man,
message,
you know,
right there,
like,
right on time, Lloyd.
You can't even make this shit up, man. This shit is just fucking embarrassing, man. But y'all guys keep doing the great work. This is a great show. I'm listening while I'm at work. Everybody in the live chat, man, make sure you got to hit the like button and subscribe to this show. It's free, don't cost you anything. Everybody have a great night and keep pounding.
My man.
See y'all.
I like it.
Appreciate you,
there.
bro.
McAdoo, as Lloyd Christmas said. Macaboo is another one you can go in there. And I was talking with Nick Filato from Big Blue View podcast, and I'll put this video out tomorrow. But you know, McAdoo was the second youngest head coach at one point in the NFL, and I forget who he was behind. I read this, but he was promoted. They kind of forced Coughlin to retire a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, your time's done. It's time. And this is why McAdoo, after having a very good offense for the New York Giants in 2015, by the way, they are the sixth highest scoring points per game in 2015. Guess who was number one?
The Panthers.
Yes, sir. The Panthers. That was a good stat when I saw that one. I was like, oh, it makes me feel good. But he got this, so he all of a sudden took this offense up in 2014, 2015 to like a legit place. And he got interviewed by the Philadelphia Eagles for their head coach position. And that's when the Giants said, we can't lose this dude. And sort of fast-tracked his promotion to head coach. Yeah. So it's interesting.
He went 11-5 his first year, too, I think.
Yeah, learned that, kind of learned that tidbit. Look for that tomorrow. Got to edit that up tonight. Nick Filato kind of giving us some insight on Ben McAdoo.
I saved this earlier from Kenneth Panther Pickle. He put, honestly, I trust McAdoo if we draft a quarterback. And I wanted to ask you guys this, knowing that, he's kind of had a decent track record on quarterbacks. The guy liked Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
He liked Patrick Mahomes. So, like, my question is
Lamar
this.
Jackson.
Yeah, if the Panthers do end up taking a quarterback this year, maybe it's a good thing that we have that guy's eye to be able to. Yep. By the way, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah,
I feel no kind of way about this. Just posing.
Well, it's better than Matt Rule picking the quarterback.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hold on. Okay, he liked Josh Allen. He liked these guys, but he could have drafted those guys.
You got to keep in mind he was in New York and Dave Gettleman. Yeah,
Dave Gettleman, and one of them too. He tried to get them to. Well, and this is all after. By the way, Nick Filato talks about this, so look for it in an interview tomorrow. Is that this was partially what was it when it came to they wanted to trade up for Mahomes, and like that, but he said this came out after he was the head coach, so like he's been fired at this point, so it's like easy to kind of say I wanted this dude in retrospect. So, but if you take it like that, it's true. Like if you believe that it's not like he made it up, they picked Ingram. Or whatever that. Who's that tight end? I tell you, don't ever pick
Evan Ingram.
Yeah. Wasting these damn money on these tight ends early. What was it? Panthers Pickle said something about it. Here it doesn't matter, Cody. Though he's not going to get to work with his quarterback. Probably. Maybe we just need him to help pick it. Help.
I see what you did there. I mean, listen, I think that it's possible that he has a good eye for the quarterback. I can't say yes or no. My problem always remains Matt Rule. If he's going to be the one pulling the trigger and having the final say so, I just don't trust it. I don't trust that, it's a possibility that a lot of people in our coaching staff and in our front office liked Justin Fields. But then Matt Rule's like, nah, well, 20% attached, right? And just buy himself into taking the spineless route. And I don't know that he wouldn't do that same thing again. So I don't know. I just think, we're grasping for straws here. Like we're wondering if maybe this guy might be able to help us get a new quarterback. I mean, that's really all we're grabbing to. And also hoping that
Gordon Bombay from Mighty Ducks 2 is going to come help us.
But that he's just a better coordinator than he is a head coach, because that is true for some people.
I mean, that is true.
What am I kidding? He's going to suck. I should know better. I'm stupid.
252-228-5098.
Good evening, boys. Baby Rhino in Jamestown,
what's up?
North Carolina. It's Wednesday, the 20th. I was just listening to the podcast with Tony and
Cody.
You guys were talking about the offensive line and how terrible it was. But one thought that keeps going through my mind is the reason our O-line sucked is because everybody sucked, obviously, but because we changed it every game. Nobody got to stick in one position. And I agree with you on Brady Christensen and especially Deontay Brown. Boys need to get some chances there, and if they can get the chances and be the players that they are supposed to be, then we don't have that much to draft. We don't have positions that we have to fill. I mean, if we give these two guys a chance, we need guards. And if Deontay Brown gets in there, then we don't need a guard. So just a thought.
We need one of those guys to be a starter next year, like a major contributor.
Both.
I mean, we do really need both. Yeah. But if one of those guys doesn't like turn out to be a productive, reliable starter, we got a lot of room to make up in free agency.
Yeah.
Let me ask all three of you this. And by the way, I want all feelings, no facts. Okay. Do you think Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown will prove to be starters for the Carolina Panthers? Good starters for the Carolina Panthers. Just your gut feeling. You think they will? Greg, what about
one? At least one.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say one will.
I think it's such a rare thing to see two late round draft picks from an offensive lineman perspective turn out to be star studded in the same draft. So I think that's I know that's fact based, but my feeling also kind of goes along with that.
Hold on, are you asking if they're going to be stars or starters?
No. Do you think that they are going to be good starting offensive? Like, forget Pro Bowl, All Pro. That's what we're hoping for, right? But I'm saying, are they going to prove themselves to be worthy of being starters on the offensive line?
Okay, then my answer remains the same. One of them will. Yeah. Okay.
So
I don't think either of them will ever be a star, but I think they'll be serviceable. One of them at least will be serviceable.
All right, Tony.
I saw Coney Ely almost win the Super Bowl MVP. He had the same exact game, if not better, than Von Miller had on the other side. And Coney Ely don't play football no more. So my answer is no. How about that? Damn. Is Matt Rule's going to get fired? This whole shit's going to get blown up. And I could see these guys just being casualties of war. And maybe it's not there. Maybe they do start for the Panthers for a year or two. I hope they do. I hope, man. Yeah. I think that Brady Christensen has shown in a very limited sample set, but we haven't even seen. That's like also like telling me, is this blind date going to be good? I don't know.
And all I'm here to say is that in the very limited sample size that we have of both of these players, they played very well. So right now, I'm inclined to bet on both of them, right? Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm inclined to bet on both of them. And I really liked Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen before I knew that they were going to be Carolina Panthers. I thought that they were going to be good football players, right? But my thing is this. I mean, if we have two players on the offensive line that are going to be able to play for us going forward, well, going back to what that call said and what I mentioned on a previous podcast, well, all of a sudden the rebuild of things that the Panthers need isn't as, it's not as daunting as it once was.
That's like so half full. That's like 3/4 full look towards the future. Is that if like being realistic, only one of the two of them are going to work out in theory, right? I mean, like if you just look at the statistics of players working out, probably. But then you got to think of injury, all of these different things that can happen. Is that what you need is for the Panthers? It's not like that we're so far, like we need it to work. Like if one of them doesn't contribute next year, we have too many spaces to fill. Yeah. It's just that simple. We need both of them to contribute and to get free agent. Like we need a lot to work for it to work, and that would help them develop as players. It would help a lot of things, but it's just kind of crazy to think you can't just fill out a roster and get every position right. And you say, they're going to work, because it's not. It just won't. You know what I'm saying? We had 27,000 combinations on the offensive line, and that wasn't entirely by choice. But yeah, is that right now? I got more faith in those dudes because Matt Rule said they're sorry. So actually, I think they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I just feel like this is if Matt Rule said, like, don't go to this restaurant, they have shitty service. I'm like,
maybe we should go check this same place out, dude. Yeah.
Best experience I ever had in my life. 252-228-5098.
Yeah, I got a couple of things I got to say. There's a Panthers fan base here, and number one is everybody keeps saying trade CMC. Now, that wouldn't be a good idea because the man costs too much money to trade. It would cost us a lot of money in the future, years down the road. So I don't think that's a good idea. You just have to leave him on the field or on the team at least. And he is a good part of this team, whether he's playing or not, because of the man's love for the game, and it rubs off on other players. We had the number 2 defense in the league last year, so I would say that the only thing that we do need for this football team to succeed is offensive line. There'll be another backup running back, tight end for sure, and a couple of linebackers. Whether we get those from the trading free agency or drafting, it don't matter as long as we do our due diligence on that. And I think this team could be successful. As far as the OC goes, don't know who they should get. Maybe they should try to get somebody like a Jay Gruden. Whether you like it or not, Jay Gruden was a play caller in the past. Matt Rule is not a play caller. You don't know a damn thing about
Was
offense.
this before we signed McAdoo?
You don't have many choices that'll come to Carolina right now. Would like to see Chizitsky come back to be the OC, but I don't think that's going to happen right now.
No.
And if Jay Gruden would take the job, maybe he would be the best option. I know a lot of people are not happy with that, but it is what it is. You have to take what you get. Maybe we can build from there, hire a better one in the future. But I want to thank y'all for doing what you do.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm Hank Rebel 3. I'm Hank 3 Rebel, whichever one you want to call me. I do call into the show every once in a while.
Oh, that's Hank in the chat.
But thank y'all very much. Panther Nation, please hold your head up. Better times are coming.
Hank, I like your call. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. But I do got to say, when you were listing that off, you were talking about our defense, being good, and it's not. I mean, on some things on paper, it might be, but it's not. Like, just look at how many points we give up throughout the last, 10 games of the season. And two,
we're damn sure not number 2.
No,
we might be okay, but we're not number 2.
Yeah. And then 2, you said we don't have much to fix, but then you named off 8 starting positions that we need to fix. And that's half of the 22 starters that are on the team. So that's quite a bit to have to fill 8 of 22 positions. So I just feel like we're on a different viewpoint with it on that stance. But other than that, could agree with most everything else.
So he made the point, though, when talking about Jay Gruden, that it's like you're kind of at a loss for who will come here. That's why, being honest, like, I know really no one's excited about Ben McAdoo. But if we're just being real and being realistic, that was probably the best that we were ever going to do.
Yeah.
And better than Scotty Montgomery.
Yeah, and we went over this too.
Who ruined my college alma mater team. You don't need him.
Anyone who had a better resume would have been contending to be a head coach somewhere.
Right.
So realistically, whether you like it or not,
coordinator somewhere else. Think about this. I did see this. Is that think about the Giants? So they get the Bills. Basically, the Bills are the Giants are the 2022 version of the 2016 Bills.
Hang on, I'll do that math.
Say that one more time.
2022 version of the 2016. Okay, I'm picking up.
Because guess what? What did the Bills do after we won? Ultimately not won. When we went to the Super Bowl, they get Sean McDermott, then they get Brandon Beane. They become a little subunit of the Panthers. They become Panthers North then. Well, what are the people are trying to get the Bills, the Giants, to be a Panther, a New York, whatever. They're fucking the Bills, man. Basically, they're poaching all the Bills' talent.
Yeah.
And some people are saying this is like, what if this guy brings in Ken Dorsey as the offensive coordinator? You know, and you're like, oh, man, this makes sense. They know these dudes. Except for this. Why the hell would Ken Dorsey not just become the Bills offensive coordinator with Josh Allen and all of that instead of going to the damn Giants?
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty crazy. But it's that fraternity. What I'm trying to say is that relationship in some ways, that's like is that the Ron Rivera tree?
It could be, but that's more like a weeping willow.
Sean McDermott's been good. And now you get this other offensive. I know he's not really associated with Ron Rivera, but anyway, 6 degrees of separation, whatever that may be. Cody, I was actually, I'm going to play this next call because I have a feeling it's probably about Matt Rule, and this will be a good pivot for what I wanted to say.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? This is Corey calling in. I just got around to hearing that Matt Rule radio interview from last week, I think it was. So I'm probably real late on this, man. But the shit was, it pissed me off so much. It was so fucking stupid that I had to call in and say something about it, man. And I realized that Matt Rule is one of those guys who he just doesn't stand on shit, man. He doesn't. It's like his word means nothing, and you know, like as a man, when you're just saying stuff and people are hearing what you're saying and they can just throw it out the window because your word doesn't mean anything, bro. It's like that's like one of the worst things you could say as a person is like your word doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Because when he speaks, the things that he says and it doesn't mean anything because I don't believe him. I don't fucking believe him, and it doesn't make any sense. Like when he was talking about the quarterback situation and the first time he really, really opened up about the thought process of going after the quarterbacks for the last 2 years. It's like, okay, cool. Your plan was to get Teddy, get a veteran quarterback, a stabilizing quarterback who can, you know, be good enough, keep your franchise stable for the next couple of years while you find your next franchise guy.
While you get your Patrick Mahomes.
Quarterback.
It drove
Which
us crazy
is cool.
too.
That's how you're supposed to really go about things.
Amen.
Like building towards the future, building a new regime. If there's not a franchise guy staring you right in your face, if you don't have the opportunity to go get him, cool. Get somebody for a good price so you know can maybe be good, not great, while you look for your guy. And if that was his plan to get rid of Cam, I'm all for that. I always was like in the camp that he should have let Cam play out his last year. But whatever. If you want to sign Teddy to be a stopgap guy, cool. Because Cam, obviously, he's not the future. Like, we love Cam, but he's not going to be a quarterback for the next 6-7 years. Right. But it's like, that's not what the fuck you did. You signed somebody who we know is not the guy. And then when he went out and had a Teddy Bridgewater year, you fucking got rid of him after 1 year.
Yes.
It's like you sat here and told us that you did a complete roster overhaul. It takes more than one season for, to build up a good team. And you signed a guy who you just sat here and told us wasn't the future. When he came out and had a fucking regular ass Teddy Bridgewater year, he came out through 20 interceptions. He came out and had a Teddy Bridgewater year on a team that you told us wasn't good, went 5-11, and then you got rid of him after 1 year to go after somebody else. It's like,
who was worse?
I'm gonna have to part 2 on this call, but I ain't.
Here is it's Corey, right?
Yeah, Corey.
He is referencing an interview that we did a full breakdown to of this interview. We did a 2-hour and 20-minute show on the interviews from WFNZ between him and Scott Fitterer. Matt Rule's interview disaster. Right, you can check that out on our channel. But that's exactly what we agree 100 on that. Is that if you would have just done what you said you were going to do, right? And you almost don't wonder if he even knew that, because it's almost like he's saying it now because like he knows what he could have done. Maybe that's the case. But if you would have just done that, but no, he panics when he says he don't keep his word. You can't he doesn't have he's spineless. And I hate to say spineless because it makes you sound like you have bad integrity.
Yeah.
Like I don't mean like he's going to take your paycheck or something. What I think he is that he is a wussy, man. Like I think he flinches. I think he gets shook. Where that's what and maybe he doesn't usually do that, but he's done it while he's been with the Panthers.
Do we think
so like woo, so over the place? And to me, I'm starting to wonder, is he really just a politician?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is politicians don't like to say no to people.
Well,
they don't like to do anything for you either,
right.
but they hate to say no. Like if you sit in their office and you're like, well, like, can you do that? Won't say I can't, but I'm not going to help you.
So the part that I would say, with that is I almost believe that he is just a yes man, right? And the reason I say that is I think Tepper reads the news. I think Tepper listens to podcasts. I think, or he hears what
he listens to us, dude, all the time. Haven't you seen my profile pic on Twitter, dude? I know him.
Right, exactly. I took the picture for you. So,
exactly.
So, at the end of the day, I think that he's looking at all those pieces and he's going to Matt Rule and saying, all right, you need to change this. Everybody was calling for Joe Brady's head. Well, guess what? Matt Rule, you need to do this. All right, yes, sir, I'll go do that. all right, Matt Rule, you need to do this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make that happen.
Yes,
You know?
I'm gonna do that. He would have been great for Jerry Richardson. Like Jerry Richardson, yes, sir.
But and you said it earlier too. It's like Matt Rule states a very clear, concise plan that the Carolina Panthers intended to follow. They wanted to do what the Kansas City Chiefs did. The Kansas City Chiefs had Alex Smith. They had an opportunity to build the football team around Alex Smith. And then when they had the opportunity to draft their Patrick Mahomes, his words, not mine, they were going to do so. But then you didn't even follow your own plan, dipshit.
Right.
You had Teddy Bridgewater, who literally compares to a player like Alex Smith. Then you pass on literally both of the kinds of quarterbacks that you want. If you wanted a mobile, tough, a quarterback that can make plays off platform, well, boom, Justin Fields was right there for you.
Who didn't need to start right away.
Right. And both of absolutely Justin Fields could have started behind Teddy Bridgewater, but behind Cam Newton. We didn't even have to play Justin Fields. Fields right
you
away,
could have sat for a whole year, and you could have done it like they did Mahomes, or you could have picked the polished guy, or that's what people would call more pro ready. That's what I would say with Mac Jones. Is like, hey,
the
he's going to give
passing,
right? It's like it's more
type quarterback.
Yeah, he's more ready from day one. He's ahead of schedule, if you think of it as schedule, but he's never going to be. If we could get Fields to pass him in that schedule, then all of a sudden you're working with a better product. Yeah, he just didn't do what he said. And you know what is and that's why we've been so fucking upset. That's why we are so upset with the 2022 year, is because it didn't have to be like that. And we didn't need it to be much better. There is a clear argument. I could have felt a lot better about Matt Rule and the vision going forward with 5 wins if I saw a better fabric of the team there.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could have just done 5 wins again, but say you had Slater who's holding it down, or say you had, and I know that's picking on Jay, but say you had the hope of a Justin Fields down the road, the hope of a Mac Jones down the road, it at least gave you the idea that you're walking the right direction, that the wind is at your back a little bit, even at 5 wins. We got 5 wins, and it's like a big headwind at us, coming at us. And I wanted to prank call my own podcast and act as Mel Mayock. I know it's mean. And not because I'm trying to make fun of Mel, but he's the only person that's like holding the glass half full about Rule.
Yeah.
I think
he's
Paul
the only...
Mancini in our chat room is also one of these people.
Oh, okay. Good. I need you're too hard on Rule person. Right. I just need them to play this devil's advocate for me, because I was a little harsh where I said if Matt Rule said this sandwich shop was terrible, then I'm guessing it's the best sandwich shop in the world. If he says it's great service, I think it's probably terrible service.
It's about to shut down. Yeah.
I think that is a little harsh to say that someone is always wrong. So that would be their argument, right? Oh, you're being too hard. But you know who has said he's always been wrong is Matt Rule. Matt Rule fired everybody. He's fired everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. He's the one that's saying they suck.
You said that like you didn't want to question, like you didn't want to make it seem like he's a man of small integrity. But I gotta be honest with you, man. That's what his actions say that he is. Like there's literally a meme about the Carolina Panthers that whenever Matt Rule says something good about a player, you know that he's either not long for the team or getting ready to be benched, or he's just flat out lying to you. Like, why is that a thing with the Panthers if he didn't have, I think some real problems adhering to his own philosophies and ideas, which don't really even exist. And then number 2, he doesn't really believe anything strongly. So he's going to go whatever way the wind blows.
I don't think he's like a con artist, though. All right. Like, I don't think like it's like a con artist. What I would more liken the metaphor, the analogy to is say he was your dad, right? Like he's your dad and you're on a trip in a car, in an airplane, and the worst possible shit happens. You get robbed, whatever, right? The airplane, the mask comes out and he's like, it's going to be okay. And you don't believe him at all. Like you're like, thanks, Dad, for trying to say the right words. Thanks, Dad, for trying. But you're more scared than I am, dude. It's like it's gonna be okay. And then like this head's between his legs, and he's like, it's like, and you're like, and the 5-year-old kid's like, good dad. So I just feel like that is like Matt Rule's trying to tell me, like, I'm not saying he's lying to me because it's just like, oh, he like brought you the worst flowers. I don't know. I mean, it's just not confidence inspiring. Like I feel like Noah would lift up his family. So he's hanging out with the Rules.
Right.
And the plane's going down or they're getting jacked on the highway by somebody. And Noah's the one that saves Matt Rule and the Rule family.
Right.
As they pee their own pants.
I would pay to see that movie.
The way the way that I would liken it to is Kevin Hart talking about how you lose respect for a parent after you see them get their ass beat. Like
yes.
So like when you see a parent who's like in your eyes like built up like this mindset like made you believe that he's this superhero type of person, and then he gets into a fight and you just see him get laid out with one punch, right? Like, and if after that you're like, all right, yeah, this is.
And then every time he says, "It's okay, son, I got this," you're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
No,
maybe
you're about to get knocked out.
Hey, Dad, shut up, Dad! I'm gonna call him to come knock you out again, dude.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey man, it's part 2 of Corey's call, and like I was saying, like, so you signed Teddy. Teddy is Teddy for us. He comes out and is exactly who he's been his entire career. For some reason, that wasn't good enough, or for you guys, because the team, they try to present like he was our guy. He was our next stop, which is, I understand that if he's the quarterback of your team, you want to present him as that. But you fall under fan pressure. You falter on us because everybody fucking hates Teddy because one, he's not Cam, and two, you sold him as something that we all know he wasn't. So then you get rid of him after 1 year, and it's like, bro, what the fuck happened to your plan? You get rid of him after 1 year, and then you go trade a second for Sam Darnold. And in this interview, y'all, he literally says that finding a franchise quarterback is a crapshoot. Like less than 20% in the first round, or like
he's scared, bro.
It's like, okay, bro. So if it's so hard to find a franchise quarterback in the first round, if that's so unlikely, how the fuck likely do you think it is for you to trade for a guy who's been in the league for 3 years, who's been shitty, and then turn him into a franchise quarterback? What the fuck do you think the chances of that going good are?
Boom.
It's like, bro. So you say these things, and nobody can fucking take your word for it because you don't stand on nothing. You don't stand on anything that you're saying. Your thought process, it's like literally how an idiot's brain works. They say the right things because they're around all these people, so they say the right things. But their actual actions, when push comes to shove, they do the things that they think is right in their mind, but it's not fucking right. So it's like, how are you gonna sit here and tell us all this thing, man? I don't know. I'm literally like fresh off of hearing that interview, so I'm heated right now. But like I said, these points have all probably been made.
It was a tough one.
I just had to get my voice out there, man. Like I said, appreciate y'all for coming up with all the content y'all do coming up with, man. Keeping us entertained and keeping the therapy sessions open, man. So appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you. You know what I said this is that it just got worse and worse as he talked. But look, there's somebody who's going to get better and better by the minute. Is my man CK. Got the COVID. The COVID. You're gonna get better by the minute. We are thinking about you. We hope you get better. Stay safe. Don't get your family sick. Get some rest.
Yeah. Luckily, we're not in the part of the pandemic.
Tell us whatever you need to tell us.
Yeah. Luckily, we're not in the part of the pandemic where COVID is like, this super serious thing anymore, right?
You got the Omicron.
Yeah, I mean it's probably the worst sore throat I've ever had. Is the best way, and some congestion. Outside of that, it's been pretty manageable. But I am getting, there is this thing called COVID brain, and it is real. Like the world feels foggy, like when you're when you have it, and it's just odd. And so I'm super tired. But yeah, I'm gonna get better, man, and we're gonna bring it next week as well as we talk about who's gonna be in the Super Bowl by that point. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Dude, we want you to take COVID, put it in a headlock, give it a noogie, shove it in a locker, and then steal his bike and ride home, dude.
Yeah,
I want you to own COVID. We believe in you, bro.
I will plan on doing that. Hey guys, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good rest of your night.
Some rest, bro.
Peace and love, brother.
I did for my work at my job. They gave this big thing about Omicron, and where we're at is that Omicron is it's like triple as much as the Delta. Is how many people have tested positive for it in our area. It's great. It's actually pretty wild of like how contagious the Omicron variant is. But I read this story today. Actually, I just read the headline. It was a Twitter. Right. It was like from a company, probably promoted. And the headline was like THC in test vial killed COVID. Like, so they're trying to say that and it was like from a pro marijuana, legalize it stuff. And it was like marijuana can, potentially kill COVID vaccine or something. I was like, well, man, if we really want to know if this is true, we should just ask Josh Gordon if he's gotten COVID, because if he is COVID clean, the weed kills it, because my man be smoking weed. So like if he's tested positive, he's like the first piece of scientific evidence against that theory.
Good test subject.
I tell you what, for the betterment of our world, I'll start running some tests. I'll just see what I find, dude. I'm just gonna run some hypothesis and do some tests and be real scientific about it.
I think a lot of Americans probably are at this moment. Wanted to ask you this about my quarterback thing, and I do feel like I'm not an over predictor person. Like, I don't like to be like, oh, this is what I think is gonna happen, but I do think I have kind of a good plan about this. Offensive line free agency. Draft a quarterback as Matt trying to loosen the noose for Matt Rule. So I've heard over and over that this quarterback class isn't as good as these other classes. Right? I mean, like, there's not this physical special specimen going forward. And I agree. Like, all right, but when you talk about classes, you're not talking about quarterbacks. You're talking about a group of quarterbacks, number one.
Right.
Right. And then the other thing is you're also doing is you're kind of really just not, when you say like this class isn't as good as whatever, you're not saying that they're not going to be successful. You're just saying this isn't a year where 3 are going to go in the first 100 picks or something like that. Or 6, or 4.
Yeah.
So my point that I'm trying to get to is, what if was Mac Jones uplifted? Like, was his stock higher because he was in a class, like a rising tide lifts all boats class? Because if you think about it, you could argue he went 5 picks too high or 6 picks too high. You could say these different things. And what I'm trying to get to is could this quarterback class for 2022 clearly be worse than 2021, but could Kenny Pickett be a better prospect than Mac Jones? So Mac Jones was part of the better class, and he was a top prospect. But could the number one prospect theoretically of this year of a worse class actually be better than the 5th or 4th quarterback in the best class?
Yeah.
So I want people to remember this too, and then I'll pass the mic to you, Greg. The the class where Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson went, that was supposedly a bad quarterback draft. So keep that in mind. No matter what happens, no one has a crystal ball to the future. And that's why if I was a general manager, my mindset would be, I do not, like, every year I start over my evaluations. I don't take things from last draft into this draft. You have to start your evaluation process completely over and identify the traits that you're looking for in every position on the football team. You're going to do that with quarterbacks as well. Because if you do that, you'll just go with this narrative that, well, it's not a great quarterback class and yada, yada. And then one of those teams might pick one of those quarterbacks in the top 10, and everyone's going to say, oh, look at their quarterback hungry, overdrafted them. But then it turns out they're a damn good football player because they did evaluate them properly. Right. So I don't really want to fall too much on it's not a good quarterback class. I think there are a few players who they have some of the traits that you want from elite quarterbacks, but none of them have all of the traits. Now, that's not to say that they won't develop them later on. But, forget about what Trevor Lawrence did in Jacksonville, right? If you're talking about coming out of Clemson, everything that he did, everything that he was asked to do, he was a complete prospect from top to bottom. These guys are not Trevor Lawrence. I would even say Justin Fields. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, complete prospects from top to bottom. I don't necessarily know that you have those kinds of players in this draft.
But how about this is there are limitations on every quarterback to a certain degree.
Right.
I mean, it's like, look, is the best quarterback in the history of football, Tom Brady, isn't the best on paper. He wasn't the best prospect.
Right.
So I'm thinking about this is Kyler Murray. What's his negative? He's 5'4". What is pick another person? You can pick each person and find something that makes them not a complete and best prospect. And you can say, well, you know what? All of a sudden, Kyler Murray's not going to be 6 inches taller in the future. It's just not going to happen. So you can't grow into a taller quarterback. So maybe what I'm just saying is this is just because you're not perfect doesn't mean you can't be very good in the league.
Right.
A Drew Brees or something like that. And so just think about this is what if you pick, say you picked or Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is undersized, right? To a certain degree.
He's not huge.
No, he's probably the perfect size. He's like 6'3".
Yeah, but he's not huge.
That's not that bad. All right. So I just don't feel like when I look, like if I could have designed him on Madden, I would have made him a little taller. That's it. Just like same speed. I mean,
they say that between 6'3" and 6'5" is ideal quarterback height.
Okay. Yeah. What I'm kind of also getting to is this is like, what if you said this is that you could pick somebody? I just don't like the overdraft concept entirely.
Well,
right? Is it cooler to pick Tom Brady in the 6th? But imagine if you picked Tom Brady overall number 1 and he went on and had the career right now. Would you have overdrafted him? Yeah, kind of. But actually he turned out to be the best player. So like, what is the matter if you like a pick at 24 and you like a pick at 9 for a quarterback? Just say a 4 quarterback. You say this is we could either pick a Pickett or Coral or whatever this guy, and we just pick him. We would have picked him at 38, but we wouldn't have picked him at 28. That's where I'm kind of getting at with this.
Yeah. It's definitely weird because it's just based on what your team values them at. And I think most of the time, every team has kind of a different value on things. You can have general consensus like Trevor Lawrence is going to be number 1. I think no matter who the number 1 team is last year, that's the guy you're drafting number 1. And that's what you would define. I feel like if you have a quarterback that goes number 1 and then at least another one in the top 5, that's a strong quarterback class because you got 2, what you're looking at prospects, like Cody would say, that are supposed to be future Hall of Fame or future good quarterbacks. But two things can be true to answer your first question, Tony. Like, you can have a quote unquote bad quarterback draft class and still have a franchise quarterback, a couple in that draft, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So
wouldn't you like, wouldn't you like to be the better quarterback of that class than the guy who didn't make it on the team, but was part of a great class and was the third overall? Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, dude, I keep on going. But go ahead, Greg. I apologize.
Oh, you're fine. I was just going to say, I think a bad quarterback draft class is more defined by there's more better players at different positions than there are elite quarterbacks at this point right now, but there's still elite quarterbacks in there. Like when the number one guy is going to be a defensive end, just hands down, and the next few guys are going to be offensive linemen, and the quarterback's not that first guy everybody wants in the draft, no matter what. That's the only time it's not a strong quarterback class, I think, or considered a strong quarterback class.
Yeah, and again, I want to go back to that 2017 draft class. It was either 16 or 17. It was 17. And remember, Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, they went 10 and 13. Like, no one evaluated them to be like top picks. I mean, not even Kyler Murray went number one. Like, yeah, and I get that this is the point that Tony is making. But that's why, I mean, sometimes you live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? So everybody was making fun of the Giants when they drafted Daniel Jones, and they thought that they had a franchise quarterback.
But they also passed. The thing we made fun of them about it is that they had more, like they could have picked other guys that were clearly better.
Yeah, they had a bunch.
That's what it felt like. It was like this. It wasn't that they were just reaching on a quarterback. It was like they had their pick of the litter, and then they picked that one over there that nobody thought they were going to pick.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like. I got to go back and look at the draft, but I feel like he went ahead of some people that I was like, what?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. He went way too high. He went way higher than he was supposed to.
And didn't he get propped up like days before the draft too? Like it was just a few days.
Well, Mel Kiper kept stroking that dude off.
Nah, you know what it was? It was all because of the Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, and that coach at Duke, David Cutcliffe. David Cutcliffe was Peyton Manning's coach in college or something like that. Right? Like, and he has a connection to the Peyton Manning kids. Like, all of them came through the David Cutcliffe training thing as they were coming up. So he's involved with the Mannings. And think about this is, what does Daniel Jones look like? He looks like Eli Manning. Now, I mean, like when they have the helmet on and they're side by side, you're like, oh God, they tried to pick Eli Manning part 2. And it's because of that Cutcliffe connection that they were like, oh, and he's been coached by this. He went to the Peyton Manning camp as a kid, like all of this. He looks like a Manning. He might as well be a Manning. That's why that's where it's like, and that's what the Giants do. They're very incestuous. You know that the GM that they just got is the first time they've had a GM from outside of an internal hire since 1976 or something like that.
Oh, they keep it in the family, like
yes, they're incestuous, dude. That's why they go back. If think about Joe Judge. Joe Judge is an incestuous hire because what do? They panic and they call former Bill Belichick defensive coordinator on their Super Bowl team with Bill Parcells, right? So they reach into the Bill Parcells well of knowledge to bring in somebody. The number is 252-228-5098. My last and final point about the Panthers drafting potentially a quarterback here is that the reason what made me think about this is I was looking at a mock draft and they were mocking like the Washington football team at 11 picking Pickett or whatever they're at, 11, 13, whatever, something like that. And I was just trying to think, if I was a Washington football team fan, would I be upset with this? Right? You got Heineke. Oh, wow. No, I wouldn't be upset. Like, I mean, I would kind of, if I was a Washington football team fan, say, all right, I don't know if he's going to be the next Deshaun Watson or whatever, but yeah, man, this is like a kind of a cool pick. Like, I'm excited that Pickett might be the guy. And I was just thinking this, is there only 4 picks behind us? So is that like, why is it that I'm like, oh man, overvalued. I don't want to overpay for this sweater. And the other person's like, man, that's a fly ass sweater, homie. Let me get that.
Well, Tony, maybe you should keep an eye, like all of our fans, on these C3 film room sessions that we're going to do, because you already know we're going to have a breakdown of every single quarterback in this year's class, damn near, on the channel. We're going to do deep dives on them. So, yeah, man, we're going to evaluate just like these scouts and GMs do. And we're going to make our assessments, man. And one note to keep in mind in this draft, there's a lot of good teams that need a quarterback. The Pittsburgh Steelers need a quarterback. And well, not all of them are good, but like the Washington football team needs a quarterback. New Orleans Saints could potentially draft a new quarterback. Like there are teams that are picking later that are in the market for a quarterback. And a lot of them are in the area where these quarterbacks are rumored to go. So you might see some scenarios where they're like, well, we don't want to just sit here and wait for the guy that we like. Maybe we should move up a little bit to make sure we get ahead of this team who's probably going to take this guy right there. It's going to be fun. I think it'll actually be a different flavor and a change of pace now that this isn't a quarterback heavy draft that we're going into. At least not from a top loaded perspective.
Next call.
Hey, Cat Call. This is Hank 3 Rebel calling again.
What up,
I
Hank?
just wanted to know what y'all's opinion on this Bailey Zappi quarterback, and do you think he'd be worth a 3rd or 4th round pick to have him on the team for the future?
Right on time.
I've seen some of his numbers and some of his highlights, and
I have
they're
no
pretty
idea who he is.
spectacular. So I
I
was
don't
wanting to see
either.
what y'all thought about it.
Never heard of him. Bailey Zappi? That we said?
Yeah. So I'm not that deep into my quarterback rankings yet. I haven't looked at him yet.
I know if we ain't picking Malik Willis, right? Is that his name?
Yeah. So Malik,
him or Pickett or
Western
Core, I don't
Kentucky,
want to hear it.
Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, Bailey Zappi. That's the guy from Western Kentucky.
Mm.
He has the only thing I know about him is that he has a big arm, and I know that people are saying that from the pocket, he's a pretty good quarterback. I don't know. I haven't.
He's gonna be your next Josh Allen, bro.
He threw for 5,967 yards, 62 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions last year.
What?
That's pretty insane. On a 69.2 completion percentage. He threw almost 700 times.
Please say those numbers again. They're so
5,967 yards, 8.7 average.
He threw for 6,000 yards.
Touchdowns. Yeah.
62 how many touchdowns
and 11 picks.
62?
Yeah.
That
is pretty nuts.
Insane.
All right, I'm in. You know what? Fuck it. Y'all said
Yeah.
Zach Wilson was dope. He looked pretty cool. He was playing team.
But
let's do it. Trey Lance killing
there,
it.
man?
He's 6'1", 220.
It's not terrible.
4-year senior, Western or Kentucky.
How old?
I'm not sure, but this is his best
32.
year. Last year, he only threw for 1,800 yards and 15 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's already 26 years old or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
That
listen,
shit is
I've
dope. Those
heard
numbers
a lot
are like
about him.
fake. I mean, not fake. I mean,
His
I
rating is
Greg's
168.9.
That's
He does have crazy, and
700
that's
times.
why
They just
a
do it
lot of
every-
people. That's why a lot of people are saying his name more and more. We'll see though, and see. Here's my deal. I want to know what the caveat is. I just need to look at the film, and to see what I can find on him, because for all those numbers, all those numbers that Greg just read out, I haven't heard one mock consider him to be a first round pick.
Agreed. I've never heard of him. Agreed.
So there's some caveat there. I mean, again, I've never seen this guy, so I don't know. Maybe he's not very mobile. I don't know. I haven't seen him yet, but I will I'm going to be looking at more and more quarterbacks. I mean, every day I'm trying to look at like 3 or 4 players, and I've been doing that every day. So I've been, working down my list, looking at more and more people. I'm working on that big board that's going to go up on our website. Yeah, I'm getting to it. I promise.
What I do not want is the middle round quarterback pick. I don't want the 3rd or 4th, 5th round quarterback pick. And not because that they haven't worked out in the past. Right? I'm not saying that's impossible. But here's the thing is that I just don't think you draft somebody in the 4th realistically believing they're going to be the future. Right? Like, I mean, it's like I just don't feel like if they are the future, that's dope. That's awesome. That's super cool. But like when you draft a quarterback in the 3rd or the 4th, I feel like it's like a luxury pick. Like you can make that because we got an extra 3rd. It's like what Pittsburgh does every few years. And they pick somebody and maybe they're going to be the guy, maybe they're not. But you don't pick a 3rd round quarterback to be your starter in 2 years.
Right.
And if he is, that is super cool, but that's a long bet, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A long bet. You wouldn't do that you wouldn't pick like that'd be like, you know what? We don't got no defensive ends, nones. No starters on this team, all backups. Mm-hmm. So guess what? We're going to pick a defensive end in the 3rd and the 4th, and they're going to be our future. You would not do that realistically.
The only thing is you just don't know. I mean, Dak Prescott.
Right, it could happen, but it's
pick. Yeah, it's a long shot. It doesn't typically
They didn't pick
work.
Dak Prescott to be the starter the next year, did they?
They were expecting to have Romo for a few more years at least.
And that's what you're saying. Like, if you want a really good, competent backup quarterback, it's that 3rd and 4th round, maybe 5th or 6th that you take a flyer on a guy like that. And I'm not mad at that. I wanted us to do that when Cam was still in his prime. You know,
I don't want Will Greer. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a wasted pick at this point. If I had to, like, look, do you get mad if you're the Bucks last year and you took a quarterback, which they did in the 2nd or the 4th or whatever it was?
Yeah, Kyle Trask.
You're not mad at that pick.
No.
You're not mad at it. You're just like, all right, man, we got to, like, that's what you do.
And that guy is sitting behind Tom Brady.
But if they didn't have Tom Brady, they wouldn't be pumped if they were like, you know what, we're going to pass on all these quarterbacks and then wait and get Kyle Trask and it's going to work. That's just bad betting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next call.
Man.
Yo, Corey calling in again, man. Last part of my call, but I just desperately want this team to start doing shit that like makes sense, man. It's like, okay, we can be a bad team. We can be a rebuilding team. We can be like all that, like, okay, but the decisions that we make, I've made this point before in a previous call, it's like they don't make sense. And if they don't make sense at the time, these aren't hindsight calls, bro. It's just like I promise you, if we had stuck with the plan that we had, just like sticking it out with Teddy, maybe drafting Justin Fields or God forbid, Mac Jones in the 1st round. If Justin Fields had the same fucking year that he had this year, like Justin Fields objectively did not have a good year. Like we can all say that he objectively was bad this year, but he's still a talented guy, very young, terrible offensive line. We can recognize all that and say, all right, cool. He still has, he still has something to prove in the NFL. Now, if he had that same year with the Panthers and we were fucking still 5-12, I promise you, we wouldn't feel like the roof is falling in because we didn't like we have a quarterback, we fucking abandoned ship, and now we're stuck with Sam Darnold when we could have had at least maybe Teddy Bridgewater with 1 more year on his contract and a young quarterback on a rookie deal who could potentially be our franchise quarterback. If we still fucking suck as a team, that's better than where we are right now. It's like you just do shit that got to do shit that makes sense, man. Like fucking hiring Ben McAdoo as your offensive coordinator when you got a head coach is already on the hot seat. That shit does not make sense, bro. Like the Giants have won 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime that I've seen. I've watched them with my own fucking eyes play 2 of the greatest games ever. They got 2 rings, and now they're a laughingstock in the NFL. And Ben McAdoo is partly to blame for that shit, bro. He was like part of the beginning of that shit. And it's like, what made You know what I'm saying? It's like the shit we do just don't make sense. And this is another move that just looks bad at the time. Like, we're gonna look here a year from now and say that Ben McAdoo was the wrong fucking hire and that we shouldn't have done this and we shouldn't have done that. But we're
did it cut him?
Fans that have a fan's knowledge of football can sit here and say, this is a bad move. This doesn't make sense. I don't know, man. Just like, it's so fucking frustrated. But appreciate it, man. That's all I start calling in, man. I'm gonna go sit down and go watch some actual real good football teams play in the playoffs, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Corey. The Panthers are ass backward, dude. Every single move that we've made for the past 2 years has been the wrong decision, and it's only gone on to infuriate us. Nothing we do makes sense. Every bad thing that happens to us seems avoidable. It seems that we could have mitigated the damages that were done to the Panthers team, especially when you look at the offensive line, Brown and Christensen. We don't have to keep rehashing that. Everything that he does is backwards. Everything that he says makes people hate him even worse than they did before. He does nothing to inspire any confidence. And really from our front office either, from David Tepper down, literally everything that we've done since David Tepper has owned the team has been a detriment. So
smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the podcast. We're on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. Please go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Check out some of the written work I've been putting out about 3 defensive players we need to re-sign in free agency on this team already. Cody and I did a free agent video last week discussing many of these things. Also, Ben McAdoo, offensive statistics, damn statistics, and horrific statistics is up on CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Go check that out. Click on an ad. You know what? When you go there, just click on an ad. Don't even read the story. Just click on an ad. That would help. 252-228-5098. Let's go to Joey, the Blind Panther.
Hey, guys. It's Joey.
What up, Joey?
First of all, I heard we hired McAdoo on the Friday free-for-all. So my thoughts on that, I don't know. Because my thing is, Matt Fool is on a really short leash this season. So then what would happen is he would be, he could get fired and he could be the head coach, because that's what Tepper was literally looking for, is someone that if he were to fire Matt Rule, he was looking for someone that could replace him, because if he had McAdoo last year in 2021, Matt Rule would have been fired. I honestly think that. But that leads me into what I was going to say next. You guys were talking about Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown. Because of all the bullshit Matt Rule spewed about them, about why they're not good. Brady Christensen's the guard and the arm, like all that other bullshit that I don't like saying, because it makes my blood pressure rise tenfold. But you know what I'm talking about. If Brown and Christensen are good starters next year, that's not good for Matt Rule, because Matt Rule has been so adamant that about not starting them.
Yeah.
That if they're good, David Tepper knows he's got Ben McAdoo, who's been a head coach, and Matt Rule is gone. Anyway, guys. Wow.
Interesting that it's
Very
bad for him if they're good, Which, by the way, he kind of paddens the blow by saying, oh, those guys, they just need another offseason. They're going to be real good ball players. They just need another year. They just need some more development. It's like, all right, dude.
Oh, I wanted to think this was another thing I would respond to Mel Mayock. If he said, oh, you're being too hard on Matt Rule for every restaurant he goes to, he says they're good, I say they suck thing. Like, you just give them more time. You're just too negative. You know, he's also said all of his decisions have been bad. He picked Teddy Bridgewater, parted with Bridgewater. He picked Joe Brady, parted with Joe Brady. He has done these things, not me. I'm just pointing out that he doesn't even like. He went to the restaurant that he suggested, ordered his meal, and he don't even like it.
But everything's going to plan.
He doesn't
He don't
follow
even
his own
like it.
plan. He doesn't follow his own plan.
Everything's
He was
going
like,
to
I was
plan.
gonna order the thing I always get, but I tried to step off the menu. It sucks. And then you're over there like, man, I'm trying to find something about this restaurant I like.
Well, that's because his
Damn
plan
it!
wasn't
Why
to order
didn't we
something.
just order the cheesesteaks at
Yeah.
Cheesesteak Place?
He knew what he should have ordered something different, and then tries to pass the blame on everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, well, at the time, I thought that it was on the special menu, and
Right.
the
I
waitress
just
highly
assumed.
recommended it.
Guys, I don't think he had a plan to order anything. I just think the plan was just to eat.
Somebody else
You know?
told him that the restaurant was good. He just was like, okay, well, just take him there. You know, I have a friend. He's a Panthers fan. My friend Andrew. He don't listen to podcasts because he lives in Charlotte. Charlotte people don't. They just hear it all the time. I feel like. But he said that. So we're college friends. His wife is real good friends with my wife, and they go to Philadelphia. He said, I was with Suzanne. We're at Philadelphia. We go to Pat. It's Pat and Gino's, right? The Pat's on one side of the street, Gino's on the other. It's the two cheesesteak places, like of Philly. Like they're on every TV show. It's the two cheesesteak places that are world renowned. And they're not even the best in Philly. They're just the ones everybody knows. You can get Whiz or mozzarella. This is a Philly thing. So he goes, man, we go to Philadelphia. I'm from North Carolina. We're country as fuck. And he goes, we're like not Philadelphia people, clearly tourists going to Pat's and Gino's just to get a cheesesteak. Like it's so touristy. And he goes, Suzanne makes me go up there and ask for a chicken cheesesteak. So you not only, he's like, and my girlfriend wants a chicken cheesesteak. So you go to Pat's, so you don't even get the damn cheesesteak.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I had a cheesesteak today, by the way. Pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. Shout out to Sal's in Charlotte. Yeah, man. Like, I think we all know who Matt Rule is at this point. He's a goofball who doesn't know what he's doing, and he's just kind of
he gets the chicken cheesteak at Pat.
He gets a chicken cheesesteak.
Right.
This dude
order.
has no. I think the words I'll use. Matt Rule has no conviction, which is funny because everyone compares him to a preacher man.
Yeah,
but,
we thought he was sold on conviction, and it turns out that he doesn't.
Yeah, this dude he's the opposite. Tony, you said that he isn't, but he really is kind of a con man. Like, even if this goes terrible for him, this guy is walking away with millions of dollars.
He'll be just fine. He won't have to work a day.
Did he stumble and goof into it, or did he dupe us?
I think
I almost feel like this is like we're the dumb ones on this.
Either way we're duped.
Yeah, it's like I don't even feel like he tricked me. I just felt like I was an idiot the whole time.
Yeah, either way we're duped because of Matt Rule. But anyway, let's get some more of these calls in.
Hey guys, this is AU Link again. Currently watching the Rams. Tampa Bay going at it. Go Rams. Anytime Tom Brady gets creamed, I'm okay with it. So I got two things to talk about real quick. I'll see if I can keep it short. First, I'm hearing some rumors that Matt Rule is wanting to be the coach of Michigan. Harbaugh leaves. So if that's the case, then all we need to do is get Harbaugh to leave, and he'll take the job, and boom. Everyone will be happy.
We didn't even talk about this.
Second thing, draft. I think the best thing that can happen for us is we trade back. You guys discussed it on Friday, free for all. Trade back with the Eagles for one of the first round picks, maybe additional second and third, hopefully 3-for-1 kind of situation, or at least an additional second. it sounds like they're wanting some corner help as well as certain other positions that would be higher value than what we need. We need picks. And then I would go with, depending on if he's available, the Kenyon Green guy. If I'm pronouncing his name right, he all best guard in the class, and then just go from center or corner or linebacker. So we'll hear what you guys think about that idea. Keep pounding, and we'll see what happens with Michigan. Bye.
Yeah, so 2 good points we should talk about. It was put out, I believe Jason LaConfora was the one who started the this rumors.
Which I don't
about,
trust that dude at all. He gives.
Yeah,
all
you've
the
said that
worst
before. You're not a
information.
Jason LaConfora fan. He's been wrong a lot on issues related to the Panthers.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like, you know, thinking about Jim Harbaugh coming to the NFL, a lot of teams would love to have him. I just wish we would do a 1-for-1 swap. Just, hey, we'll take Harbaugh off your hands. We'll give you Matt Rule, and everything is just going to be peachy and honky-dory, and we'll go about our business. But it doesn't work that way.
Don't
I think the
Wolverines have a top draft prospect? Like, isn't there like
Yeah.
one of the Wolverines that's like the
Maybe
top
the
5
best.
there?
Maybe the best. His name is Aiden Hutchinson.
I wish
Yeah,
we could
he's-
just trade Matt Rule for him.
Dude, you know, it really just it makes you kind of wonder, would Matt Rule even go? Like, I think you might have said this on Twitter, Tony. Like, after everything that we've been through, hiring offensive coordinators, you know, now he's hiring a special teams coach and stuff. Like, we're going to have Matt Rule for another year. He's not going to college. Maybe he does. We all hope that would happen. But then again, you would be behind.
I mean,
the
it's not
process.
impossible, but like every day that passes and every move that's made, every breath that's taken, I'll be
watching you.
I'll be watching Matt Rule. I'll be watching Matt Fool. I mean, that's where we are with
Be
him.
missing
Man, it
you.
sucks. You know, a couple of things about that though. Somebody put in the chat that Michigan likes the alma mater guys or whatever. They hired a guy that was outside of the family once, I think, and he was from Virginia Tech or West Virginia. What was his name? He had like a Puerto Rican last name. He was there for a second, and I don't think he was Puerto Rican either. So they have hired out, and it didn't work, and they went away from him real quick. But I heard this weird. I had never heard this before, and it's weird. That I heard a rumor on the radio, and it was like from a national radio host. They said that there's a rumor out there that Jim Harbaugh smells. Like
What?
literally, you know, like one of those. So I know some people that are very nice people. They're friends of my in-laws. And, you know, this lady was my 8th grade teacher, I guess, but like her and her husband got bad breath.
Ew.
I mean, they just do. You know what I'm saying?
They got chronic
halitosis.
halitosis.
They have chronic halitosis. I mean, and they're good people.
Yeah.
They're nice. You know, they're good, honest people. They're also a little bit closer talkers than you would.
Like you
wish
might not
for.
notice it if that was the case.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So you're kind of.
And so I was just thinking about this is that, it was Rodriguez. Yeah, West Virginia. See, my Paul got my back. But it was like this is like I would take Pigpen Jim Harbaugh all day long over Matt Fool. Give me stinky Harbaugh any day. I'll sit beside him on the bus. I'll sit beside him on the airplane. If that's what it takes to get Matt Rule, that's what I would be talking about.
But I think since the pandemic, a lot of people have had to learn the hard way how funky their fucking breath is, because you put that mask on your face, and then, dude, now you're breathing back
Floss
into
your
your
teeth,
own
folks.
nose,
Floss
dude.
your teeth. Go to the
Dude,
dentist.
use
Get cleaned up.
Listerine.
That's
brush
good.
your
Go to the
teeth.
dentist. Get your mouth clean. That's good
That
for
shit
you.
is nasty.
It is
And
hygiene.
by the way, man, shout out to John, our buddy One Carolina said, "Tell CK I'm praying for him. I've got COVID too. It's been kicking my tail. Just got out the hospital.
Oh man,
doing better though. Hey, John, get better, man. You and CK, man. Happy you're out the hospital. Hate that happened to you, man. I was in the hospital early in 2020, and I still think I had COVID. Never
I have been
confirmed.
thinking about you, John, like for a minute. And I think we got to find a way in next season for us to collab more.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
John's awesome.
I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, I think he's a good fit for us to collaborate with. So, well, we'll be thinking about you. Get better.
Him and CK got the best voices in all of YouTube.
They really do. Them good. They got some pipes on them.
They do.
They're blessed. They're blessed. Next call.
Shout out One Carolina.
What's up, C3?
I think.
Hey guys, it's Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina.
What up, Chuck?
Just kind of want to throw this out there. We really had some high expectations going into the season. And, you know, the big draft we had and all the extra picks and Federer being a hero. And it was a head scratch with a long snapper when we needed offensive linemen. Well, then, you know, we did some free agent signings. And I like the Hassan Reddick and the Frankie Louvu and questionable calls on the offensive line, which that proved to be correct. But I look at it this way, guys. When we got into training camp, when we were scrimmaging other teams and even going into preseason games, and we kept looking for the Joe Brady to open up the playbook, or, you know, we kept being a mirage told us that we were just hiding things until, you know, it was time. And that was BS. You see right through it. You could see this team wasn't progressing in training camp. And it was just a lot of coach speak. I say that because I really do believe that Matt Rule, as we go into this coming up season, no matter how well the draft works and what favor, whether we take a lineman or quarterback or trade down, whatever we do, and however free agency works out, I think once we get to training camp, we're going to get an idea about how these guys practice, how we scrimmage, and how those first preseason games go, to see if he's learned any damn thing about how to run a team. Because if he doesn't, and then things don't change quickly, the writing's going to be on the wall before we even play our first game. So, you know, it's just there. You can tell when a team is not really having the structure, is not really given any type of a vision, is not given any chance to show growth as the preseason before it begins during training camp. And I think that's the one thing you can look at this team and see that Matt Rule is definitely fool's gold.
Fool's gold, I agree with. What I don't agree with, what do you guys like about that call? Because I have one thing that kind of just irks me about it. What do you think about this idea that we could have, like, we got this fool's gold? Where I go crazy on this call, and Chuck, love you, I agree with all of it, is that I didn't have my expectations too high. Even at 3-0, I was reserved. And I just wasn't, and what I just didn't need is this team. I didn't need this team to even win more than 7. Like, if we would have won 7 this year in the right way, I would have been like, oh, walk in the right direction. I'm walking down the lane. If we would have won 5 in a way that didn't make me question the whole integrity of my life and my childhood and all of that, then I'll be fine. I don't think. Go back to that Houston game, guys. I won't just like, oh, this is like I was pumped. I thought we were going to beat the brakes off that team. And when we didn't, I was like, something ain't right. It's just not. But I didn't need them to win 10 games, dude. I didn't need them to win the playoffs. That's the one thing I don't like about this. I felt like Matt Rule believes that if he would have just won 2 more games, I would feel better about this shit. Nope. I don't trust the future. You know what this is? I listened to this discussion one time on NPR about trust. And they were talking about, like, it takes a lot to build a trust and it takes very little to ruin it. And then what it takes to rebuild that trust is more than what it took in the first attempt. Like once it's been broken, and they gave the example of this, is that if you're a kid, your parents drop you off at school and they say, I'm going to pick you up after school, right? Your parents always come pick you up after school. Like you had no reason in your whole life to question if they would come pick you up until the one day the masses got busy and forgot you. And then for the rest of it, like now, all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, my parents can forget to pick me up.
Mhm.
And now there's an anxiety. And now that like that moment, like that perfect ball, it's like a plate that's been broken. It can't be completely repaired perfectly. There's a fleck. He broke the trust with me. The circle of trust, he fucked it up.
Yeah.
And it's not the wins. It's not the wins.
Yeah. As far as the caller goes, with I loved everything about the call. I believe it's fool's gold too. And the thing about Matt Rule is, you know, he was inexperienced coming in, and we took a big chance with him. And I get you don't want to have egg in your face, but one thing the caller said was we don't want to start out next season, you know, with the writing on the wall right then. But I hate to say it, it looks like the writing's on the wall now, and that's the most frustrating part, is that nothing's being done about it. Is that it's clear what the problem is in Carolina, the biggest problem, the biggest glaring problem in Carolina. And that's the only thing not being targeted. That's the biggest issue. And that's the writing on the wall for me, that there is something going on in that franchise, but like in the logistics of this franchise, that I don't understand. A lot of people don't know what they're doing. That's what it sounds like.
And I don't want to be teased with half measures either. You know, like, I mean, it sucks. And to be honest, I almost not feel sorry for Ben McAdoo. But, you know, like, what is he going to do? Is he going to come in? Imagine if all of a sudden this team becomes like the top 10 offense in the league and the defense is like top 15. Imagine that. Imagine if we don't have to listen to this. Oh, we got the number 2 defense. What if we became like, I mean, best case scenario, all of a sudden Ben McAdoo takes Sam Darnold, fixes him overnight. We got all these receivers, 1,000 yards. This shit's cooking. And the defense takes a step back, which would be realistic, right? Not everything can go right.
Mm-hmm.
What would we say at the end of it? You know what I would say is make Ben McAdoo the coach.
Yeah.
Fuck you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is McAdoo fixed it? Not you. Like, what is
call him the Ghostbuster?
Dude, he's going to be. Look, Ben McAdoo.
It's not going to work. It's going to fail.
Ben McAdoo is going to be the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. I have already called my shot on this. That he is going. Matt Rule is going to be fired in the middle of the season next year, and Ben McAdoo is going to be your interim head coach for 1 year. And then you have to pray that he doesn't show signs of life down the stretch where David Tepper's like, all right, I'll run it back one more year with Ben McAdoo. Now, fuck that, Mr. Daly.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's where I like pull a Band-Aid off. That's what it is with Matt Rule. 252-228-5098.
What's up, C3? 89 J Stoves.
What's up, J Stoves?
Angel investor.
Hope everybody's week is going great. And what an amazing weekend of football, man. It's so tough watching all these great quarterbacks making these plays with 13 seconds, and Sam Darnold can't score with a whole game. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
amen.
So just thinking, and I see a lot of the fan base kind of come around, and again, just taking the quarterback this year, it frees up so much money in the future. Even if he's not good, I mean, is he going to be better than Sam Darnold? I mean, let's be real. I mean, we can have a cheap quarterback for the next 5 years and build the team around him. And I just think we let Dante walk. We let our people keep saying we need DBs, but like we stacked up on DBs last year and sucked. So I see Gilly walking, D-Jack walking. Let Hassan Reddick go, if he doesn't get the offer he wants, he can come back. But I just think we take this quarterback, and you'll see us spend 2 big contracts on a guard and maybe tackle
This is where
depth
I'm at.
or maybe a center depth,
We speak in the
And
same
'cause Pat
language.
Eflin, he sucks. He can play center. I know that. I mean, I just really feel we got a quarterback coming in, and if we can get a second for McCaffrey, I can see us taking a safety or a linebacker in the second round. I don't know, man. I just feel that's gonna be the move, and I hope y'all have a great day, man.
Angel Investor 89 J Stubbs, thank you for your support. My man always smashes the thumbs up button. He always check out the podcast. He comes on the Friday free for all, looking clean, got the good goatee beard going, looking good, feeling good. Always supporting the C3 Panthers podcast. And you know what? I really am walking in arms with you. In one hand, right? In one hand, I think he making great points and points that I feel like I have been leaning towards. But this also is under the perspective of believing that Matt Rule is trying to, or has enough sway to try to do something to keep his job. Because if it is a long-term rebuild, that's not what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. It's not what we do. If it's a long-term, if and this is what I'm just interested in, is we'll kind of know from free agency if Matt Rule is a dead man walking, like if he's a lame duck, or if they're going to at least give him an honest opportunity to save his job. Because if you trade back, if you just pick a lineman, he's done. He's donezo. Like he can't win in the future. And you got to wonder, is Tepper not firing him at this moment because he knows he's going to fire him next year, and we are going to tank. We are going to tank for the quarterback class. Who are the guys? The Alabama kid, the this and that are on the horizon. It almost feels like, man, the Carolina Panthers could be tanking with Matt Rule being the guy. You know what? It's like, might as well not fire you right now. We're going to lose 12 next year or whatever it is, or 13.
Good luck getting a job.
You're going to know anyway.
We're going to know who the diehard Panther fans are. Y'all better prepare yourself, man. We might be getting ready to go through some lean times. Because then, let's say next year is a bust, right? Well, then you're rebuilding for the next year with the new head coach and players that you have to sign. It's like, that's why we've been saying rip the Band-Aid off now, because now you're putting all this off. And we already know it's inevitable.
What if you're not, Cody? What if you've already resided, though, that, you know what, it's tankathon time?
But who made the decision?
And you know what? We're going to make Matt Rule. We're not going to give Matt Rule any pieces. We're going to make him and McAdoo go out there and try to fix this shit with nothing. No draft picks, no trades. We ain't giving you shit, bro. We ain't even giving you $1. You got to take us on a date. We ain't giving you no money, no allowance coming to you. And because you know that even if you fired him today, that next year that guy's going to be terrible because he don't got no draft picks, the coach. And then he's going to have to go out there and he's going to have to take all the hard questions and this and that.
Who's making the decision to do that, though?
What if we just go 3-14, draft a lineman this year, fire Matt Rule at the end of next year, go out and pick our coach and our quarterback in a good quarterback class, and roll like damn Arizona did?
David Tepper's not trying to hear that, though. And again,
what if he's actually playing the best? What if he knows
you don't
he's
have much
fucked up? He's got to
Yeah.
know he's fucked up now, and if he knee jerks too much, it could blow it.
Yeah.
So, like, if you let Matt Rule pick Kenny Pickett, you're giving Matt Rule a chance to live. What if you just fucking kneecap him right now?
Yeah, but I don't think David Tepper wants that. I think it's just as simple as he wants to win, and he's going to do anything in his power to try and win. And by the way, Drew was in here earlier, and me and him agree. You're not done hearing about Deshaun Watson. Whether you like it or not, you're not done hearing about it. Those stories are going to continue to happen. And I feel like I know David Tepper is going to at least want us to be in on those conversations, especially when you look at what happened in the playoffs with Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and, Patrick Mahomes. Dude, David Tepper, I could easily see him saying, if I don't have that kind of guy, I'm dead on arrival. Let's go fucking get him.
Mel Mayock used to say you don't win Super Bowls in April and May. You win them in December and January or February, first week of February, technically. And what he was always saying is that having the best draft and all this doesn't make you a best football team.
True.
Right? I mean, it's like you can win the headlines. You can win the news cycle. I'm starting to wonder a little bit is if Tepper is going to be about Watson, if he's going to be so all over the place in a certain way, is he just trying to push the stock price up a little bit around earnings or what is it, where they do the quarterly calls?
Yeah.
And they got to report their quarterly earnings and the CEO's got to do this. And it's like, we just got to push it up. So we're going to announce an acquisition 2 weeks before just to give it a little bump.
Right.
We're going to float our name in the Deshaun Watson ring just to give us a little bump at this time. But then it doesn't help us because we're firing our coach and this and that. And Deshaun Watson, I guess you would say a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago, you'd say he would never come to Carolina. But the worse this story gets for him, the worse, he has less power where he's going. He might just end up, some people are starting to wonder if he's going to play in the NFL again, let alone does he get to pick which team he plays for. So, we'll see. Let's go to the next call.
Cody.
Oh,
CK.
cover me for a second.
Tony.
Nick.
And probably Greg. What's up, guys?
What's up,
I got a question for you. If you are the company that you keep, does that mean that Sam Darnold is going to start fumbling now instead of throwing picks? I'm genuinely curious because he spent this past weekend hanging out with Kyle Allen. And, I'm not one to judge what somebody does in their free time, and I don't care, but the dude went from hanging out with CMC to Kyle Allen. Something made right here. But two more things. One, Matthew Stafford, I love you. I'm happy we didn't get you, but thank God you knocked Tampa Bay out because that made my weekend. If only the Bills had actually pulled it off against Mahomes. But you know what? Josh Allen was an animal.
Yes.
And the last thing I wanted to get to, I remember I pointed this out back when Tom Brady signed with the Bucs, that his days were going to be numbered. And I know that the rumor mill is going around right now saying that, oh, yeah, Tom Brady's going to retire this offseason. I don't see that one happening, but let's face it. Who's the best quarterback? If Tom Brady retires this year, who's the best quarterback in the NFC South? Jameis Winston, guys. Scary world when that is the best, that could possibly be the best quarterback in the NFC South.
That is pretty terrifying.
Change my mind. Keep on the test.
That's even scarier to think about that when you think about we've always touted about how the NFC South has probably the best quarterback play of any conference overall. When we had Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, and Winston was playing, throwing a lot of yards and touchdowns for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Along with interceptions. I don't know.
I mean, in the NFC South, I don't know. Did you still say Matt Ryan? I feel like everybody just heaps praises on Matt Ryan. And, hey, listen, maybe Matt Ryan is another Matthew Stafford, right? Maybe he's just on the Falcons.
He's too old now. He's not. He's like 8 years older than Matthew Stafford.
Nick asked us, who's the best quarterback in the NFC South? He said Jameis Winston, which is crazy.
No, it's Tom Brady. But wait, he said Tom Brady.
No, he said outside. Yeah, he said outside.
Why do you guys think Tom Brady's going to leave?
I don't.
I don't think he's gonna win.
I think 45,
I don't think he goes out on a. He only goes out on a
He
Super
had like
Bowl
one of the
win.
best
next
seasons.
year. Next year he'll be 45 years old. To me, that's a perfect number, and he gets to do the farewell tour. Like, imagine before the year, he lets everyone know, all right, guys, this is it. This is my final hurrah. Then everyone on that team knows that they're playing for Brady's last year, and all the opponents going against him know, hey, I'm playing against Tom Brady for maybe the last time that we'll ever play.
It looks like he's got 3 or 4 more years left in him.
Maybe.
He's
I
like
think
way
he's-
ahead of where Breeze looked.
So what, you
Like he
think
looked
he's-
great this. He looked fine.
He
He
did. He
wasn't the
looked very good
problem.
this
It's
year.
like he almost needs to just go be on another team again.
Do you think that these rumors are just made up, that they're not, that they're coming from nowhere?
But hasn't
They're
people always
circulating.
been saying it comes out every year that Tom Brady's going to retire for the last 5-6 years, isn't it?
I just
But
felt
I
like
feel
he
like
had
these
a
were
better
coming from
season this year almost. And you know what I mean? Like he was the dude this year.
He's playing better for Tampa Bay in his first 2 years for Tampa Bay than he played in his last 3 or 4 for New England for sure.
Yeah.
And he played well in New England, but I just don't see him retiring on a season where he doesn't win a Super Bowl. To be truly honest with you, because he still can win a Super Bowl. I just don't see him doing.
He
it without-
wasn't the reason they lost this week.
No, he wasn't.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it.
the
And on
offensive
top of that,
line
they
was
got a
the
ton of
reason they lost.
injuries, this and that. They didn't have their start. I mean, there's a lot of things about
yeah,
that
yeah.
game
They
that
took a big
were
hit.
on the list ahead of Tom Brady.
Mhm.
I'd take Tom Brady over anybody we got on our team right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm just saying it. I don't know. Is Tom Brady just a year ago acted like he was never going to quit football? Like, and you
Yeah.
asked him if he was going to retire, he would be like, "Fuck you! Why are you asking me? I look so good." And now we're all just thinking he's just going to quit. He won a Super Bowl last year. Why didn't he just retire last year then?
So 89J Subs makes some good points. She says the Bucks are going to lose a lot of talent.
Yeah,
And
go somewhere else.
Tom always shoots down retirement, and he isn't this time. And that's the difference. A lot of the people wondering and all the rumors, they were kind of coming from Tom in the way that he was answering questions and shit. So I don't know, man.
Brady, where would you put him?
What do
If
you
you
mean?
were Tom Brady and you said this, is Tom Brady's not going to quit football. Like, you don't have a choice, Tom. You're too good. We're not going to let you quit. We're going to make you go win a Super Bowl with somebody else.
Yeah.
I have a team in mind that I would put him on.
Oh,
Like, I'm
me
gonna
too.
force him.
Easy. No, easy. I have a team.
Y'all go
Who
ahead.
is
Let
it?
me think.
You want to do it
You
on the
go
same
first,
time
Alan.
to see if it's the
Yeah.
same one?
Yeah.
Three.
On the count of three.
Well, like when we get
Philosopher.
3, 2, 1, and then we say it. All right.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
San
Titans.
Francisco.
Oh.
He grew up a Niners fan. And,
Ooh,
and
all right, that's all right. You know what? We're not
he
putting
grew
that
up-
on debate my take because that right there, he
Yeah,
grew up
that's
a
a good
Niners
one.
fan.
That's
That
a
would
good
have
one.
blown
That's
it
a good
up.
Vegas, Las Vegas. is
That
another
would have
good
blown
one.
up. You would have won right
That's
there.
a good one. And like also, I mean, they're in the playoffs now. And if it's
Okay.
going to be like, let's just say it's for one more year, that's fine. Even if you're Trey Lance, they just drafted you. Fine. Sit one more year behind Tom Brady and get to learn and pick up for him. Yeah, you're good to go.
And be our guy for the next 15
And they have
years,
George
man.
Kittle and Shanahan. Yeah, that would be it.
What about Vrabel? The Vrabel connection a little.
I love Vrabel. Vrabel's a dude. I love that.
Tennessee, man, with Tom Brady would have not lost this week.
Yeah, that defense, Tennessee's
Debatable.
defense might have been the best defensive line in the playoffs.
They had
they-
3 people, like their only team that had like 3 different people with more than 8 sacks or something like that.
Yeah.
On a, I think this, it kind of sucks when you see, and I'm not saying that Tannehill is sorry. And like, I mean, Tannehill, I think has overperformed, outperformed anything that anybody thought he would. And he's earned every dollar he's made.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you would have put Tom Brady on that team with Derrick Henry, they wouldn't have lost that game. The Bengals might have made it awesome. They might have made it close, but Tom Brady would have won it at the end. And they would be close. I mean, think about this: is that who do they got to beat in their division?
Dude,
The
you should save some
Jags
of these
way
points
far
for debate my
away.
tape, man. This is a good debate.
No, you already
This is a good
won
debate,
with
my
he's
tape.
yeah. That is a good one. That is a good one. But I
Yeah.
think the Titans is a second.
No, but you
I
make
would
it.
give
No,
it
that's
to
a good
you.
one. The Titans are a good one. I mean that defense is ready
Bad
to go.
division. Like, why would you want to be Aaron Rodgers and go to the Broncos?
And people are blaming.
That don't make no sense.
Tannehill.
You got to play Mahomes and Herbert twice.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, why
Yeah,
would you
no,
want
that's
to
a
do
good
that?
point.
Just stay where you're at. You already went 13-3. I hate this idea that Rodgers, and I like Rodgers, but like the idea, I don't want to go to a team with a rebuild. You're in a fucking division where nobody matters but y'all.
Yeah. I gotta be
Like,
honest.
you're
man,
on the
I'm
best team.
tired
You
of
went
Rodgers.
13-3. You're not going through a rebuild, bro. Y'all dominated. You just couldn't win the fucking game that you needed to win.
Yeah, I'm so tired of Rodgers, man. I'm so tired of people talking about how great he is. He is a really good quarterback, man.
Such a
Regular
narcissist.
season, he's awesome. He seems like a really cool guy, but he chokes every year in the playoffs, man. Hasn't he gone to the playoffs every year he's been in the league, except maybe one or two, maybe? And he's
I
won.
don't want to call
maybe
him
been to
choking though. I mean,
one
that
Super
punt
Bowl.
block. I mean, he can't stop the punt, but man, like, I mean, that's
How many
not
points?
on
Did he, how
him.
many points did he score in the game before the punt
Right.
block?
Now, I don't know. You know, but the other team didn't score a touchdown. An offensive touchdown.
Jimmy
You know what I'm
did.
saying?
reason you should have won the game.
And by the way, that
Like, they
lends to
only
my-
kick field goals. Like, isn't that the worst? You got
But
beat
that
the
lends
fuck up.
to,
You got
you know,
beat by
that
the
lends to-
2003 Panthers.
That lends to my argument. That's why Tom Brady would go to San Fran, because they don't. Jimmy G didn't beat the 49ers. The special teams beat the Packers. And I shout out to Daniel Jeremiah. I heard him say this. The Green Bay Packers, their style of play isn't built for Lambeau. Like, they're a pass-heavy offense, and the 49ers came into Lambeau and ran the football down their throat. It's easier to run the football when it's negative 10 degrees than it is to throw in the wind and it's going crazy.
Yeah, and like home field advantage in Green Bay kind of just sucks for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
You know,
I'm
it's
saying.
like, fuck it. Can we play? Can we get a neutral site?
Yeah, like,
can we just fucking play in the Viking Stadium?
That was the point that Jeremiah made, that if you asked Aaron Rodgers where he would have preferred to have played that game and he could have chosen, he might have chosen San Fran instead of Lambeau.
It would be better than Denver.
Yeah,
It
but
would
I
be
agree
better
with
than
Greg
Denver.
though. Like,
Yeah, that's
it
another
is a
crappy
legitimate
place to
it's a legitimate point to make that Aaron Rodgers has not been a great playoff quarterback.
Oh, okay. All right. Next call.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing?
What's up, Jeep?
What up,
Bob
Jeep?
DA. Hey, man, Matt Rule didn't get fired. Okay, we all know that shit. But you know what I was thinking about today? Wouldn't it be something if Matt Rule pulled a Bobby Petrino? Remember that dude, Bobby Petrino, back in I think it was 2007? He was the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons.
He just
And
dipped.
he left after 13 games or
He
something
just
like that.
dipped,
He went
man.
to
It wasn't
University
even that much. I
University
don't
of
even think.
Arkansas. Remember that shit?
Didn't
Now,
show up
let me
anymore.
ask all y'all a question, man. They said, if Jim Harbaugh comes to the NFL, the
Stinky
Michigan
Jim.
coaching spot's going to be open, and Matt Rule will be. They say he's interested in it. You think he'll pull a Bobby Petrino? You think he would? Me, if he did, I really wouldn't care, honestly, because I want him out of Carolina, honestly. But that's something to think about, y'all. Keep pounding.
So we talked about this. Not like we didn't talk. That's not towards the caller. Like, we talked about it. You should have heard it. Not like that, G. Don't worry about it. But we mentioned something about this. We were trying to figure out how much it would cost if you fired him versus him quitting. And this was on the Friday free for all. That's right. I was on the Friday free for all. And I think a lot of people in the free for all misinterpreted it. And who is the guy that wants Kirk Cousins? He's real great. He's always on the free for all. He came on a few minutes late.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He knows a lot about Panthers football. Great contributor to Friday free for all. Thank you for your support. And he was talking about the contract numbers, and I think people misunderstood him, and not because he didn't clarify it wrong. It's just because people weren't listening. And what he was saying is this: if Matt Rule quits, like he says, "Fuck it, like I'm done with this shit. I'm going to Michigan." That Michigan would buy out his contract. Like they would have to pay the Panthers like a penalty for him breaking his agreement, which was $25 million. So Michigan would have to pay that. But if we fired him, we would have to pay him what we told him we were going to pay him. So it's kind of like, do you quit or do we fire you? So if he pulls the Petrino, he owes the Panthers. Now, he's probably already made that. And if he does leave, he would have a deal in place where the boosters would pay that penalty for him, likely.
Yeah.
But that is actually a realistic kind of scenario that could happen. The only thing I don't like about it is, not only thing I don't like about it is like I'd be happy. But if I was at the school that's poaching a failed coach and this and that, and paying all of it, I just feel like it's so grimy in the wrong way to get a job. Like, you failed so miserably with the Panthers, you're going to steal off in the middle of the night, and we're going to hire you. But that's what Alabama's coach did. That's what, I mean, a lot of these guys have done this. That's what Nick Saban did. But at least Nick Saban went on to be like the GOAT. Petrino didn't. They didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not at all.
Like, I just don't think if Matt Rule came to Michigan, I'd be like, man, I'd rather have Harbaugh. I'd rather have Stinky Jim.
Yeah, for sure. And dude, how about this? If Matt Rule does decide to leave to go to Michigan and stiff us, he is all the things that you hesitated to fully call him today, Tony. He is a con man. He lacks integrity. He has no, what was the word I was using earlier?
I feel like
Conviction.
he is. Yeah, I do feel like he's noodly. He's just noodly.
He's a worm, dude. He's a fucking worm. He's a worm.
I don't think it's negative, though. Like, I don't think he's, like, going to steal stuff at your house.
Well,
like, if you had a party, like, he's going to steal, like, the people you got to put your PlayStation games up. You have a party with people you don't know. You got to put your PlayStation games up. You got to put your good stuff away. You got to at least just hide it from sight because the hands get a little. I don't think he's that. I just feel like he's the dude that's like, man, I got your back. I'll pick you up. And then you call him for a ride and he's not answering.
Fell asleep. Yeah.
He's totally looking at the phone. He's totally bitching on you. You know what I'm saying? He just don't got the.
I disagree. I think he's all that shit. I mean, dude, I've never met him. I can't say if he's a good person or a bad person.
We've met him just as
and
much
that's
as anybody,
nothing for me.
We follow every fucking word he says.
My thing is this, though.
As good as
like,
anybody.
I'm gonna let his actions. I'm gonna let his actions tell me who he is, and his actions tell me
and you're winning.
He is a spineless con man who lacks conviction. And it would be the most Matt Rule thing in the fucking world for him to leave the Panthers high and dry and skip town to Michigan.
I know this is sexist. I know you're not supposed to say it. I think he's a pussy. And here's why. Have you said, how many times does this mug say, I want alphas? Alphas. We want alpha. I ain't ever heard somebody say he wants alpha so much. That dude cuck.
Yep.
I really think it. And, so spineless, this and that. I just think he's a B. He wants A's in the locker room, and he turns out to be a B. And you can interpret whatever B means. I got a couple of words that I think it could mean. Let's go to the next call.
So I cut the call a little short, okay? So back when Tom Brady signed with the Bucs, okay, we still had we still have Matt Ryan in the same division, okay? But we also had Drew Brees, okay? And I saw the writing on the wall. Brees was getting ready to retire, okay? I knew Tom Brady, he was going to have to come to an end within the next few years, okay? I was expecting right about now, to be honest with you, okay? Which means that we had 2 years to figure our shit out. And Matt Rule, you got the defense close, but you missed really hard on the offense. Okay? And you know what? I'm going to go as far as to say Robbie Anderson ain't the guy we should keep. I know that we're stuck with him. Okay, but if we can trade him and we can get something worth just about anything, get rid of him. With how he played, especially during the Vikings, the dude doesn't deserve to be on the roster. Okay? And then to shit on people and to shit on fans, no, you don't deserve to be here. Okay? But then you mess up and you don't let us see Brady Christensen at left tackle against some of the easiest teams to beat in the NFL. We don't see Deontay Brown out there, which I get it. When they finally started to really train him and push him, he got hurt. Then he came in at the last game of the season. Okay? But Matt Rule, you fucked this up. We had 2 years, maybe 3 to get this shit right, and you dropped the fucking ball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see you fixing it this upcoming year. Which means that next year, okay, if we don't get a quarterback this year, which I don't want us to, we're going to be competing with 2 other teams in the NFC South to get a quarterback that's worth shit. Okay, we're going to be dealing with the Bucs. We're going to be dealing with the Falcons. So, you know what? This shit kind of sucks that we're in this position, but hey, we're here. Let's just ride this train. Let's try to enjoy it.
Love
he
it.
has turned us into pussies. Sorry.
Love
Nick.
it. No, it's like Nick kind of laid out what I laid out a little bit earlier, that going forward, if things go the way that we're going to predict them to go, things are not about to get very easy for Panther fans. I mean, if this next year is going to be bad, well, then you're starting over again the year after that. So you're talking about 2, maybe 3 years at least before the Panthers are going to get back on track.
That's starting to get competitive. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's terrible.
Crazy. Hey, go to the next call, Tony. You're on mute.
Look at you. You're muted. I
am muted. I feel like I've been heavy breathing tonight, so I've been trying to mute in between. The answer to your question is 4, Cody. As long as he does, don't keep calling. But I love when they call. I'm not going to give the number again because Cody's like, I gotta go to bed soon. It is late. It is late.
That is excited for Bill McAdoo to be hired. And the reason why is because I want to see everything fall. This is a whole shit show. So McAdoo is a shit show. I want to see the whole shit show fall. I do not believe in no 2022. Hopefully this will be the end of the Matt Rule era. He gonna find it, but knowing him, he gonna find a way to have an scapegoat. Well, we got Big McAdoo, and I try to get somebody that used to be the head coach and everything. You know, he gonna try to find. He gonna, oh boy, he gonna throw him under the bus. Probably that's what we need to have. A poll. When would Matt Rule throw Ben McAdoo under the bus? I got week 3. I got week 3.
That's a great
week 3.
I just don't think
that
this team
has to
is
be
this
something.
team. I know everybody's saying, well, wait to the draft, wait to the free agents. I mean, this is a shit show.
Will he fire?
That's why a lot of
McAdoo?
the people
What
decline
about
coming here.
Yeah, fire.
They see
during
the
the
shit
bye
show.
week.
It's basically what it is. The
Late.
Carolina Panthers shit show. All right.
Fire
One
McAdoo
more thing.
before he gets a chance to be fired.
That's such a good.
Past
call.
Monday, we
That's my call
we celebrate the 6th anniversary of the Carolina Panthers in the NFC Championship game. What is your memory of that game? Is y'all, did any one of y'all went to that game?
Oh, the NFC Championship game. I was
And
there.
is that is that arguably the number one game in Panthers history? So I know some people say top 5, but I hear some people say that's the number one game. So I want to hear what y'all think about that. I appreciate
it has to be top 3, right? And when I say top 3, the only things you could argue is that, like, when you beat the Rams and then you beat the Eagles on the way to the Super Bowl in the 2003 2004 Super.
That's it.
Is that they're kind of long shots. You're on the road, exciting. You know what I'm saying? You're underdogs. You know. So there is an argument, I guess you could say, that those were the most exciting type of games. But like, think about this: is an NFC Championship game in your home on your home turf. I went to the game. My boy Trip, his wife Mindy, we all went there, and we said this is we gotta go. Like, we just have to go because it's a home NFC Championship, and they don't come that often. Like, the last time this happened, we were on the road. You know what I mean? Like, it's like so perfect. And then we beat the fucking brakes off of the Cardinals. I mean, just slaughtered them. I would say my memory of that game was at the end when it was over. I mean, it was clearly over for a long time, and we were celebrating for the last like 4 minutes of the game, it felt like. But it was so loud in there. It was Super Bowl. People were Super Bowl, Super Bowl. You know, the chants were going crazy. MVP, all of this stuff. It was just awesome. But the actual stadium was shaking. It was flexing. Like, almost there was a couple of times like if I wasn't this happy about what was going on, I would be slightly concerned about my safety.
Right.
Like, this might fall down. It was like an earthquake, bro. It was so awesome. It was just like so good to be there. But like, I mean, we came out there and just did everything right. Defense getting picked, the offense. I mean, it was just so great. Like, it's like one of those things that you just high five the whole game. Yeah, it was like the best possible fucking game you could be at.
My favorite, it's either that game or dude, even those 2 Seattle Seahawks games during that season too, man. Those were some good ones. I think that Cardinals game, 1, it sent us to the Super Bowl, and 2, it was such a thorough domination.
Yeah,
like
thumping.
The Seahawks, they came back against us, dude. We stomped a mud hole in the Arizona Cardinals, dude. And I also remember that's the first time I learned before they came to Charlotte that the Cardinal is the North Carolina state bird.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, bro, you are not gonna roll up into our house.
We
with
ate our bird
and beat this fucking team. Fuck out of here, bro.
Which they usually do beat us in some way. But man, it was so fun.
No, I feel like we always beat them. We always beat the Cardinals. We have a very good record against the Cardinals.
No, and actually, you know what? No, and we're probably not. And first, always this and that. We're putting too many qualifiers on it.
Yeah.
So we beat the brakes off of them in that game. We beat them with a hobbled quarterback in 2014. Remember where we back in? That was the year we walked into the playoffs. We had a home game with a losing record, and they didn't have Carson Palmer. So you're like, man. And then we got stomped the next round, I think.
7-8-1.
They beat the shit out of us in 2008 or whatever. I think it was that. Where the one where it was like Deloma's done. Remember, he threw 5 picks and a fumble in that game, and was in the playoff game. And then the first game of the next season, he had 5 turnovers. So he had 10 turnovers or 11 turnovers in 2 games.
Yeah, early.
And you were like, "Oh God, this is done."
Yeah,
that was against the Cardinals, man. Fitzgerald fucked us up. So they've gotten us a couple of times. That's a good question. What's the record against us? Greg, Any memories of that 2015 magical season that culminated in the NFC Championship? I'm trying to think of. For me, another one is the Thanksgiving game against Dallas. That's when I knew we were fucking like, wait a minute, I'm full of turkey, tired of watching football, barely can stay away from my Panthers, and fuck, this is the best game ever. Like, I knew we were real then.
Yeah, for me, for that season, I would have to say the first Seattle game we beat him, where he hits Greg Olsen with that touchdown. That was the first game where he hit him with that touchdown pass, right? That we won. The game where everybody started taking us for real. That was the game that everybody started taking us for real. You know,
it might have been right after we played a stretch where it was that Colts game. I think it was like the Colts, Eagles, and Seahawks like close together.
Yeah.
And, you know, every time we won, it was like a comeback. It was something kind of, and people were like, they're frauds.
Right.
And we were doing the podcast. It was like the best thing. Imagine doing the podcast when you haven't lost and you're 14-0 and people are calling you fraud. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is a good experience to do a podcast when you were 10-0. And every game, I mean, each game, we were like, fuck y'all, man. We were just giving punches back. We were doing our thing. We just beat people. And we always heard we're the worst undefeated team ever. 6-0.
Till we beat the Seahawks.
7-0.
And everybody thought we were great.
Yeah. Sure. We beat the Colts, the Seahawks, and another team right in that mix.
But for my top games, I've got to go back to what you were saying about that Rams and Philly game. I think maybe it was just the time of my life. That was my freshman year of college. You know, those games stand out to me so much. It was such a fun season. I feel like that Carolina team reminds me, or this San Francisco 49ers team kind of reminds me of that Carolina team.
Yes. You know?
They were not expected to come in and do anything, but they're really making some noise and they're having some fun games to watch. And
great comparison.
All the way. Yeah.
Great comparison. And people have been sleeping on that San Francisco defense all year. We keep hearing that we're the second defense. Well, I think they're the number one.
Pretty good.
The mugs are mean.
They are.
Kyle Shanahan is cool. I hate to be like that. It's like he is the genius. He's the smartest coach in the league. That's like if I had one pick. You said this. If you could have one. Ooh, Cody. Here you go. Flip the script on you. I know you want to go to bed.
I'm here.
You asked me earlier if I could have one quarterback.
Yeah.
If you could have one coach, who would it be? My answer is Kyle Shanahan.
My answer is Mike Tomlin.
Oh,
really?
That's a good one, though.
Yeah, I like Tomlin. He's never had.
You like Tomlin,
season.
but you hated Rivera. Get out of here! Get the fuck out of here!
But I hate. No, wait. What? No, you tried to catch me in something, but you didn't. I hate what?
I said you want Tomlin, but you hated Rivera.
You tried to catch me in something, but you didn't.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin's way better than Ron Rivera.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
Not even close. Yeah,
it's not even a little bit close. They're not even. He
just had better players, bro. He just had better receivers for a long time.
Mike Tomlin makes the playoffs like I said, almost every single year.
So how about this? Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season.
Never.
And Ron Rivera has had more losing seasons than he's had winning seasons.
Let's not put that on Debate My Take.
Mike Tomlin is a beast, bro.
Greg, one coach. Who you take?
I would take Payton. Trying to be honest with you.
Sean Payton?
Sean Payton's a great coach. Yeah.
Oh, the ass lips.
Can I give my second, my number two?
Ron Rivera. If it's not Ron Rivera, I don't want to hear it.
Well, it's not Ron Rivera. So, no, you know who my real number two is?
Who's that?
Sean McVay.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Sean McVay.
I think that he is a damn good coach.
The Rams buy a championship every year, man, and that's why they haven't won, and that's why Sean McVay hasn't won anything. Is he buys a championship, or he tries to buy a championship,
I think
it's Shanahan, man. Shanahan, dude. Imagine if you gave Shanahan real players.
He has real players.
Shanahan's got some pretty good
no,
players.
He does. He's got
Jimmy G,
bro.
Top 3 wide receiver.
He got
Debo's a top
nothing,
3
dude.
wide receiver. Kittle's a top 3 tight end. He's got some good players.
Teron Armstead, he has George Kittle, he has
How about this?
Nick
If
Bosa.
if Kyle
What's the Warner
Shanahan
guy in the
coached the
middle?
2015 Panthers, you think they win?
Say it again.
If Kyle Shanahan was the coach of the 2015 Panthers, do you think they win the Super Bowl?
I don't know. I think he would choke it. I mean, he's kind of
maybe.
always choked the Super Bowl. Huh?
The refs kind of fucked us.
That's
in the Super Bowl.
bullshit.
That's what he does.
That's bullshit.
He is known for the biggest Super Bowl choke of all time.
This is true.
Ever.
True.
What do
Look
you
at that
mean
Falcons
where
game.
his defense, where he was an offensive coordinator for a team that was ahead 25, 20, whatever points it was, and the defense just let Tom Brady just do everything? Choke. It's Dan Quinn looking like a big choking penis over there. Next call.
Hey guys, it's Joey again. Something I forgot to mention in my last
Y'all got
call.
slander on
You know what the
Shanahan.
Niners are doing with Trey
I like
Lance,
Shanahan.
right?
No, you don't.
You know
You're
what they're
like
doing?
Sean Payton.
do.
Hollywood.
They've got.
You gave me
they
shit
drafted
last
this
year
man,
for
even
liking
though they drafted him
Shanahan.
with the number 3 overall pick. They only had to do that because
Hollywood.
that guy was not going to be there. Let's be honest, he was not going to be there. And they know that Jimmy Garoppolo is not the long-term answer. Hell, he's probably not even the answer now. He's probably going to get their ass beat by their division rival LA Rams next week because that defense is on fire right now. So so what they're doing is they're sitting him. They're running the Kansas
They're gonna
City
bring
Chiefs
Trey Lance out
Patrick
as a
Mahomes
surprise weapon, is what
game
he's saying.
plan. Although I think Alex Smith, I'm not too familiar with him because I don't really remember him playing too much.
How do you not remember
But
he played for like
he
12
was
years?
He was better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, way
But
better
then
than
again, I
Jimmy
think he
G.
had
Jimmy
better
G's a
talent
fraud,
around
bro.
him.
He's not good.
Then they're about similar. But that doesn't matter because he's still got George Kittle. He's still got all kinds of other talent around him. He's got coaches who are the very best in the league or among the very best in the league. So yeah, Garoppolo might be on the market, and God, please don't have the Panthers trade for that bum because he is a bum.
I gotta wait for him to do this.
Anyway, guys, wow.
He officially always gets us to play the end of his calls. I can't cut him off early because he's got the wow. Jimmy G is greater or less than Carson Wentz. Go. Don't give me a big explanation. Just greater or less than.
Less than.
Dude, Carson Wentz has been struggling, man.
Yeah, but Carson Wentz has had a better years than Jimmy G's ever had. Carson
Yeah,
Wentz
he's had-
an
Buddy,
MVP,
stop
an MVP
pussyfooting
candidate.
GM. You get
He's-
to pick. We're picking teams. I'm picking a team. You're picking a team. You get first pick. We got only 2 players. Jimmy G or Carson Wentz. You pick.
Dog shit versus cat shit, man. I guess I'll take
You just called
Garoppolo.
Jimmy G.
Yeah,
All
bro.
right,
They're not like.
Okay,
Dude.
fine. Jimmy G or Jalen Hurts.
Jalen
Right
Hurts.
now, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. I mean, we're
Yeah.
picking teams.
Yeah, I guess.
Younger,
yeah.
stronger, more mobile. Hurts.
Greg, what'd you say?
Hurts. Yeah, I'm going with Hurts.
Jimmy G or Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
I mean, that's easy. It's
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins
but-
all day.
yeah,
like, if
but-
you don't
well-
pick that, that's weird.
No, fucking dude. Garoppolo's been way further than Kirk Cousins.
Cousins got a way better arm. Cousins
That's
wins that game.
stupid.
Cousins, yeah, dude.
I can't.
Say what they did, but-
Jimmy G or who's Jared Goff. That's
Jimmy
a good one.
G.
That's a good
Yeah,
one. Jimmy G or
Jimmy
Jared
G.
Goff.
I think they're
That's
the
not
same
even
player.
hard.
I think they're the same player almost, to be honest with you.
But again, it's like
I pick
yes,
Jared Goff all day
Yeah.
over Jimmy G.
Why?
Any day.
They were the worst.
Well, first of all, I feel like Jared Goff has more nuts to go downfield than Jimmy G does.
Yeah, but it's also like so does Carson Wentz. But you're gonna throw it to the other team.
See,
You know, it's
I
like-
think Goff. I'm with Goff, man. I would pick Jared Goff all day over Jimmy G. Okay. All right. So next, Jimmy G or Gardner Minshew. You know who I want, Gardner Minshew. How about this, Jimmy G or Daniel Jones?
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G, yeah.
Yeah.
Give me one more. Jimmy G or Sam Darnold?
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. Let's get, how about...
Is there any? Am I missing any that are the comparisons that are kind of like, because I'm all Jared Goff, number one. What was the other one we had? Wentz.
Hey, Jimmy
You know
G
what?
or
I'm gonna
Teddy.
go
No,
Wentz,
I got
you know,
one.
is-
I got one. Jimmy
All right, what's
G
that?
or Teddy Bridgewater.
Or Teddy B.
Dude,
Jimmy
they,
G.
to me they're like the same fucking
It's like
person.
white and
Jimmy
black.
can
It's
throw-
like
can-
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
like-
the white version and the black version. Of the
Call
same
that
person.
yin yang, dude. That's the yin yang twins right there. It's just the opposite of one another, just different
I don't
shades,
know.
man. That's the same player.
All right. All right. Next call.
What up, fam? This is Cody here.
What up,
I
Cody?
get that everybody likes to complain, and trust me, I've done my fair share of complaining about Matt Rule and David Tepper and
complains
the whole
harder than everybody,
organization in
though.
general, and how they completely built this the complete wrong way. But when you look at teams like the Bengals, it took them 2 seasons, basically 2 seasons to rebuild, and now they're in the AFC Championship. I'm not saying
got
that
a
we are the
quarterback,
Bengals
though.
and we can get to the NFC Championship in 2 years. I'm just saying what we can do in 2 years and how players can just get better over a year. For instance, like Derek Brown, it takes 3 years for a D tackle to get physically enabled to be able to be a dominant D tackle in the league of football. I'm just saying that's one example. You know, you get players like Brian Burns to take the next
Vita
step,
Vea.
Jeremy Chin to
Vita
take the
Vea is
next step.
dominant
We
right
have a
now.
really
He was
good
drafted
team.
like 3 or 4
We have a
years ago.
really good team. I honestly think I'm not saying Sam Donald's the answer. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying the Panthers are a quarterback, and I honestly think one more decent offensive lineman and a coach that can just control the clock. I think we're just 3 pieces away from being a dominant football team in the NFL. I don't know. That's my take. Also, another thing I wanted to ask you guys. At pick 6, if we don't trade back, if Kyle Hamilton's available, the safety at Notre Dame, would you take him, assuming that Evan Neal is off the board? No. Would you take Kyle Hamilton, the safety? And if Ikemi Kwanu is on the board, would you take Kyle Hamilton, the safety, over him? I just want to ask you guys that.
I'm not
Kyle Hamilton or
Yes.
Ikonwu. I don't know, dude. Hamilton. I really like Hamilton.
What was the last transcendent safety? Transcendent.
Guy for
Game
Arizona.
changing.
What's his name? Honey Badger.
Yeah, well, he's even
I don't really
faded already.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
Cam Chancellor, was he a safety?
Yeah, him
Like
and
something like that.
I mean, I don't know. If I had to pick between those two right now, I'm keeping it simple and just picking Ikonwu. I just
Are they
think
both
that-
safeties?
No,
Ikonwu is the
offensive line.
left tackle from
NC State.
NC State.
Yeah, and he is mean, bro.
He
Like,
is.
this
I
dude
showed
is
Tony.
awesome. Now he doesn't. We don't know if he can pass block because we don't see.
Him
We just
doing
don't have
much.
a lot of evidence about whether he can or can't. We don't have bad evidence, right? Like we don't have a lot of film that says he can't do it. We just don't have. They just run the ball all the time because this dude can just grade over everybody. So they're just like run behind this guy and he just bulls over the whole fucking team. He's amazing. How about this? The eye test right alone says this dude's gonna be better than anybody on the That's what I would say. I don't care.
Automatic
He
best.
might suck
number
at
one.
pass protection, but he's way better than you at everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Hey, one thing this caller said was he did compare it to Cincinnati, and he was talking about how it took him 2 years to build. The difference is the head coach hadn't lost the team, and they had Cincinnati was building for a future. We went all in on a bad
They
hand.
had first pick.
Yeah, we went all in on a bad hand. That's
They
all
got
it is.
Joe Burrow. They made a direction.
Mm-hmm. They followed a plan.
We believe that could have been the case for Matt Rule, but he just didn't do, like Corey said earlier when he called in his interview, he laid out a plan that was like a great interview. Imagine, like, almost that was the reason he got the job with David Tepper. He gave him this great interview, told him exactly what we're going to do. And then he was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then he did the opposite of what he told me he was going to do. So we think that's got to do with David Tepper's meddling. But I just don't think it's as easy to say as, well, this team 2 years ago sucked and they turned it around. Well, guess who also sucked 2 years ago? The Jacksonville Jaguars.
And they still suck.
And they haven't turned it around. And they have a quarterback, so it's just,
but they have
until you have an offensive line and a quarterback in this league, it just don't matter. And they're both. Right? Like, it's the left leg and the right leg. To walk, you need a quarterback and an offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You need 2 legs to walk. Next call.
What up, C3 Podcast? JSU. I ain't got much to say, but what I have been thinking about is Matt Rule karma for us? I mean, with us not taking advantage of the rosters throughout the years and the players that we did get lucky with, drafting wise, free agency wise, is Matt Rule karma for the Panthers? We haven't looked this stupid for years. We look like clowns, and Matt Rule is doing his job. I mean, overrated. He thought he had a LeBron James staff. Thought he was putting pieces together. I felt okay with him being the coach. As soon as he lost the locker room week 4, he just laid his balls on the table when he just blamed the defense when it wasn't even their fault. Oh, man, I'm so disappointed. It even sucks that we can't get rid of him because of his contract.
We can.
But, I mean, I'm hurt as a fan. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Disappointed at its highest. It just sucks.
Ooh. Actually, you know what? That's a great way to end our podcast. That's the last call of the night. And it does suck in this moment to be a Panthers fan, but it does not suck to hang out for 3 hours and 8 minutes with the C3 Panthers podcast. Every Tuesday night since 2013, been doing this. Not a missed week. Every now and then we've had to shift it to a Monday or a Wednesday or something to make up. Not much, though. We're here Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. The number is 252-228-5098. Call in for next week's show. Cody and I do a ton of stuff throughout the week. I got an interview with Nick Filato, Giants expert, coming in to tell us a little bit about Ben McAdoo or Macapoo. All of that. We got a lot of stuff coming out. Cody's been on that draft junk. He's getting on that draft D like crazy. But right now, we got to ice some fools up, bro. Unless you got to, please don't. Yeah, I was about to say, if you cut me off and tell me we got more things to talk about, I'm going to be upset.
Dude, I'm about to cut you off. How about that?
Ice up me right now for this podcast, unbelievably being this long with nothing to talk about.
Y'all want to go first? You want me to go first? What y'all want?
You go ahead. Good. You ready?
Good.
So listen, dude, I'm not a baseball fan. I need my sports to be violent. I basically like the UFC/MMA and football. And that's it, man. But when I was a kid, growing up as a young kid, I honestly believe I grew up in one of the golden eras of baseball. And in part because I got to watch guys like Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa.
Juicy Juicies.
And this guy, Barry Bonds, who was not elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. This was his last year of eligibility on the BBWAA ballot, effectively shutting him out.
Wow.
Now, here's what I want to tell you. Let's say you're a really athletic person and you're good at baseball. If you shoot steroids into your ass every day from here until you die, you will never, ever, ever be able to do what Barry Bonds did. Cut and dry, one of the greatest hitters of all time. And you're going to keep this man out of the Hall of Fame? How about this, dude? Baseball needs more steroids. I would be a bigger fan of baseball if everybody was juiced to their tits.
Finally got good.
It's not wrong, though.
Good take now.
Dude, that's when baseball was at its best, man. I don't want to see this pitching bullshit that baseball is about now. Barry Bonds is the greatest fucking hitter of all time, and it doesn't matter how many steroids he was on. Oh, well, Crimea River. Everyone was on steroids. That's like, what's the guy that won the race? Lance Armstrong? Dude, Lance Armstrong beat a bunch of dudes that was also doped up to their fucking tits, man. Hey, maybe you should be a better cheater than your constituents.
He would never even be in the conversation. No, it's not the same. It is not the same. First
Barry
of all, you
Bonds
almost had me.
should be in the Hall of Fame.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Go ahead. I will at least concede for a moment to you that shooting dope or whatever they call it, whatever the kids call steroids, doesn't make you a better baseball player. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but cycling, come on. That's exactly what it helps you. It's not like a talent to move your legs as fast and as long as hard for days and days on end as you can. That's not as you're trying to tell me that just because you shoot steroids doesn't mean you can hit a baseball better. Like if you were a golf player, I could literally ride my bike longer.
Literally everyone in the MLB was juicing, and they couldn't do what Barry Bonds did. And by the way, I mentioned Lance Armstrong because in those races that he won, they had to go to the 23rd person who finished 23rd to find someone who wasn't doping and cycling. So it's like everyone else was doing it. Why are they judged differently, man? I don't know. Right. Sports like that I would never be interested in. Dude, I want them to be on fucking all the steroids. But Barry Bonds, the greatest hitter of all time, is never going to be able to make the playoffs. That's the dumbest shit in the world to me. I don't care if anyone likes it or not. That's dumb. Ice up to whoever the hell votes on this shit, dude.
Okay.
Greg, you got something?
Yeah. Okay. The Dallas Cowboys are my favorite team to hate, I think. I hate watch them because they're all over the news all the time, so I got to hear about them, so I keep up with them. I invested a lot in the Dallas Cowboys this year, fantasy-wise. Dak Prescott was my quarterback in every league. It was my running back in every league. Fuck the Dallas Cowboys. I want to ice them up for their performance this week and Dak Prescott's dumb ass decision to run the ball. Well, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. But I wasn't here last week. These guys are, like I said, they're the team that I love to hate because I want to see what's happening with them all the time, and I don't know why, and I hate it because America's like that, and for some reason, this is America's team. For some reason, tickets to these games are insanely expensive, and everybody wants to go there, and I get it. It's a lot of money, but I just don't get why. They haven't been good in forever, and even when they are good, they find some kind of way to blow it, you know? So I guess I'm icing myself up a little bit for being a Dallas Cowboys hating fan, but just overall, that play, the last play, man, you don't do a 15-yard quarterback scramble with no timeouts and 13 seconds left. You just don't do it. I can't believe the way Cowboys history works. And it's like I said, it's part of the reason why I feel like some of this is scripted, because you have to make this stuff up. Like somebody has to write it in a room for it to happen. You know, I also hate that they I might up the referees a little bit. This is kind of a triple S up. I up the referees a little bit in that game because nobody else in that game gets that call where the ball's moved and they get another chance. That's one reason this stuff's scripted, because they wanted Dallas to advance. That ball that was a first down. The ball should have never been moved. So I guess icing up just a lot of Dallas Cowboys stuff because it was crazy to watch him
ice up America's team, former America team. My ice up pick is got a little thread to it. If you're a Little Dicky fan, right, which I love, Little Dicky, white rapper, YouTube extraordinaire who became like a sensation, famous for a great song. Well, not famous, at least to me. My favorite is like "It's a Good Day to Be a White Dude." Right, and it's a great social critique. So my first, it's kind of like, here's the first part A of my ice up pick goes to this, is my refrigerator broke. And my refrigerator broke, and it's brand new from 2019. And it's the second fridge I've had in 5.5 years.
Wow.
And I went, a Samsung first, then Kim Moore. I'm like, and I didn't cheap out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's expensive ass pieces of equipment. So I called the repairman, and he was like, look, it sounds like, he's like, is the fan working in the back? I was like, I can hear it. He's like, all right. He's like, is there a bunch of ice on the back? I was like, nope. I know what that looks like, and I know where to look at and stuff. I said, you got a leak, probably a pinhole leak in the Freon. So I was like, how much does it cost to come fix this? He says probably, he was like, I'm sick this week. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm busy. He didn't even want to talk to me, barely.
Yeah.
And he was like, just buy a new fridge. And I'm like, fuck, I can't buy a new fridge. I was like, and the repair, I think, is like $800 to $1,000 bucks. But a fridge, a brand new fridge, like that same fridge is like $2,000, $2,500 on sale or something. He was just like, buy a new fridge. He's like, I don't want to fuck with that. Well, I don't want to fuck with buying a new fridge. Right? I don't. But these are white. I won't say white. They're like real world, like the fact that I'm all stressed out about this new fridge, that, you know what I mean? Like, it's this, and I can't afford it. I ain't got the money. You know what I'm saying? I'm financing everything. I ain't got but don't worry. It's like, but I'm just saying this. They're good problems to have, because I could be this black guy right here, this poor guy. And can you see this? All right.
Yeah.
Just want to say this. I'm sitting here. I'm stressed out. My life. My day is fucked up. Actually, it's been a couple of weeks because I got an old fridge anyway, first world problems. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of this stress. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. I don't know how I'm going to move it. Am I going to get somebody to help me? Do I got this? And this poor guy, this mug, this is what real problems are about. Black man suing Nevada police for damages after they misidentified him. They arrested this dude, and the guy that they were supposed to be arresting had the same name, but he was 2 times the dude's age that they were supposed to be arresting, white. So this poor black guy goes to jail for 6 days.
Wow.
Just driving home. He's arrested at a stop, and they just got his name. They was just like, oh, your name is John Jingleheimer Smith. That is my name too. And then they arrested this guy. I'm sitting here worried about my fucking fridge, how bad it is. It stinks, man. I cleaned it all out twice. We've been spraying stuff in it. It still stinks. And it's just cool enough to keep like the milk in it. But the freezer, you know what I'm saying? It's this big, and I just bought it, bro. It's like $3,000. It took me 2 years to pay it. I just paid it off. And I was crying about this. I've been crying about it. I won't move this fridge. I don't want to. And this poor guy just driving home and gets arrested because this old ass white guy. So I guess having a broken ass fridge is better than getting misidentified and being in jail for 6 days. So ice up to the Nevada police for that shit. Ice up to Kim Moore for y'all assholes. Shit. This is a C3 Panthers podcast where all problems are the same and equally when you're a Panthers fan, because we got lots of problems. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Call into the show at 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe. Check out CarolinaCatChronicles.com. I got a couple stories up there, and Cody Lashney be working on that draft. How can they get after you, my man?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. There's a brand new mock draft on Draft Tech tomorrow, where I'm the analyst for the Carolina Panthers. And listen, keep your eyes glued to the C3 channel, man. We're going to be putting out more draft content, previewing some more players. And as always, join the Friday free-for-all, man. Every Friday at 7 p.m., you can come on the show. You can tell us what you think about the Panthers, about football. It's a good time, man. Join the cult of free-for-all. We're having a good time. Come be a part of the show. That's it for me, man.
Greg, how can they get after you?
You can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. Check out my show Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, the Super Civil Servants Podcast. I think this week we just talk all kinds of entertainment. This week we're talking about Peacemaker, Book of Boba Fett, and maybe Eternals. So hey, roll right in there after the Friday free for all. It's always fun. It's got a few people.
Cody,
it's really nice.
Take us out of here, my man.
Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, keep pounding.